Hey guys, welcome for the ZBS Season 1 draft, not a stream because internet problems are happening for Kooper and possibly others right now. We are doing a video where we're going to walk through all 88 of our draft picks and reveal them to you live as if we were actually picking them live, but yeah. We have a couple people in call with Kooper today. You can introduce yourselves.
I'm Makar, hello. Coming out of retirement for the ZBS, and I'm happy to be here. I'm the coach of the Baltimore Noirioles.
And following up Debro Makar is Debro Kamon. How's it going?
And following that up is not Debro, Darky. And I am the coach of the Austin Solgaleos.
Solgaleos? Is that how it's pronounced?
Fuck.
I
was like, you just use Solgaleo and Nicolego.
I coach Greninjas.
Yes, Darky's the only one who doesn't have his name on his Zad avatar down there, so he's the one that stands out, so it's easier to remember that way. Anyway, so you see our screen here. This is our draft order. We have the order is going to be the Green Bay Drampackers, San Jose Greninjas, Melbourne Starmies, Seattle Primarinas, Austin Solgaleos, Pittsburgh Celesteelers, Baltimore Noirioles, and Utah Jasmine. So we also, I don't think, have officially revealed what the divisions are. Basically, the divisions are the odd rounds or the odd pick numbers. That is the Soul Blade division, and the even numbers are the Lunar Glyph division. So that means Green Bay, Melbourne, Austin, and Baltimore are in Soul Blade, and San Jose, Seattle, Pittsburgh, and Utah are in Lunar Glyph. This was actually programmed into how we wanted to do the draft, or have the order done. It was randomized, but then what's the interleaved? That's the word I'm looking for. Interleaved so that divisions did not pick in adjacent picks. The divisions themselves were randomized, although it kind of ended up being a split right down the middle alphabetically, which actually makes it work out really well for every time there's a group of the logos or whatever in a folder. They happen to all be, oh, the first four are one division, the second four are the other. So it works out very well. Wasn't what I intended to do, but it worked out that way anyway. So with that being said, sure, we didn't rig divisions. Anything else to be said before we get started?
I don't have a name on my avatar because I'm not a diamond bro. I can't afford one. I hold all the diamonds. Help me. Help me.
I believe we have Maria in the call as well, but she's just going to be here hanging out and maybe having some commentary on her picks. So with that, the first round, the first overall pick coming in with Malcolm Rohde 2007 is going to be selecting, this is the sole surviving Tapu. It's Tapu Fini.
Oh man.
Oh wow.
So we got a bulky water.
The anti-status. All the anti-status.
The first thing you notice is typing is exceptional. Ability is exceptional. Prevents one of the few ways you'd think to beat it with status. And it's just so versatile. It can calm mind. It's defensive. I think that's a strong first pick with how many capabilities.
Very similar in bulk to Suicune.
Rock Whirlpool.
I think the calm mind
Nature's
plays
Wrath.
very similarly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the
Definitely
awkward thing
a threat
about
to look out for.
a Crow Fini is that while the Misty terrain is up, you actually can't use rest, so you do have to wait out those 5 turns. But with its innate bulk, it can usually survive those 5 turns. So, shouldn't be a problem. I think we got our next pick coming in. It is from Kamon. It is going to be a Lordly Duck. Lordly Cyber Duck. Kamon, tell us about Porygon 2.
Fattest wall. By far the fattest wall in the format. Low amounts of knockoff. So super safe. There's still things like Trick, Switcheroo, which are fairly uncommon, so not too worried about that. And Thief, while a bit gimmicky, could shut it down, but just trace download, great stats, 105 special attack. Safe, I feel good about it. Let me load up on offense afterwards.
Even without Eviolite, this thing was still one of the better walls in 4th gen, was it not?
Oh, absolutely.
It was the Gyarados counter, and for a while it was kind of what you brought if you wanted to take down Salamence as well.
Mm-hmm. Trace and Intimidate.
And those were not soft hitters.
They still are not soft hitters.
No, they're not.
We got our We got.
Help me.
What? We got to move on. We got our third overall pick coming in. It's a mascot pick. We got the Melbourne Starmies selecting the best spinner in the game, definitely in this pool, which is Starmie.
The bane of my existence.
Well,
I just hope it's run defensively. A bulky toxic Starmie, that's all I hope for.
At least one game, maybe, right?
It's an underrated set. I'd bring it every game, but that's just me. That's just
Yeah,
me.
we have recurring jokes in TPX about bulky Starmie, so we'll see. we'll see. We'll see if that happens to pop up at some point during the season. But natural cure analytics to hit a little bit harder on the switch.
That's true. It can really be versatile because if you know what your opponent's bringing and your opponent has some bulky water that you don't have a way to deal with, honestly, slap Toxic on Starmie in it, and it'll deal with it because it has natural cure if your opponent does the same. Its bulk is not. Its bulk is significant. It's definitely not its best asset, but it is. You can do a bulky Starmie. I've seen it done. I've done it.
And anything with reasonable bulk that's really fast and has a heal move, not to mention is hard to do, hard to status. It's very hard to break. I mean, look at, Taunt Sableye. It just comes in, stops you from status, it priority heals, and, very, very hard to deal with.
Looks like we have another mascot pick coming in here for Seattle. We have, out of Tier 2, our first Tier 2, I believe, Primarina.
Oh, the hole breaker.
Hole breaker.
I wasn't
Little
too hot on
Mermaid
it
isn't
until I
he
started
cute?
looking at
Where's your
damage
mom?
counts. And once I started looking at damage counts, where I realized, wow, this thing can really tear a hole in most teams. The spec set, I mean, it's a very potent stab combination. You don't
Energy
really
Ball
need
psychic coverage.
that.
Oh.
A lot of
So it's
people
just
like
a
to
great
use
place
steel
to start.
types as their fairy counter, and it's not weak to steel, and steel doesn't resist water, so they end up getting clobbered back very hard with a hydro pump. Could even hit around sub with Sparkling Aria. Yeah, the Z move is the other thing.
What? No Z moves, so
Yeah.
that's not a factor.
No, there will be no Oceanic Operetta Spirit Bombs going on. All right. We got another pick in here. It's the 5th overall pick. Is the type changing? What is this wild card gonna be? Is gonna be Silvally,
Oh, wow.
the Fool Archon.
Yeah. So Valley, versatility, power. One of the things I was looking forward to using this generation. I really wanted to test this out, and I did not want anyone else to have this.
Did I see correctly that the
it can adapt to any team that I need it to, and it's so strong. Maybe not the strongest
If I may
thing,
ask,
but
how often do you think you're going to end up using a memory disk? Because I think it could use other items just as effectively.
good question. Well, first of all, it depends on each and every team, but I might just keep all the memory disks. I might not use Choice Banner.
Oh, right now with your
Because
Civilian
its versatility is just so surreal to me.
Sword Stance Electric Memory completely crushes everyone in your division right now with Fiddy and Starmie being picked up.
True.
It's true, yeah. We have 3 of the first 4 picks all weak to electric, so that's potentially setting up for some electric stuff. But this is a pick that's not vulnerable to electric at all if you choose it not to be. We have Alolan Marowak coming out from Malice and the Pittsburgh Celesteelers.
Its power is insane. I haven't found a Pokemon in the format that does not get 2-hit KO'd by something.
Dang.
Yeah, I can't. There's not much more I can say about that. I mean, you can go like max HP, max attack, and be bulky. You can actually shift some of your attack into defense or even special defense with max HP, and even with what's left over of your attack that you put into it, can still 2-hit KO just about everything. You can go max attack, max speed, and it's actually faster than Tapu Fini unless you run, I think it's 12 EVs. So it's deceptively good, like very, very scary.
I'm just glad it does not get rock polish. Let me say that. Because it does still use the regular old ground type Cubone, so it keeps a lot of those ground moves that you're accustomed to seeing on the original Marowak.
You can always pass it one though. Or even go Smeargle and pass a DD.
Oh no.
Glowing Marowak, one of the few evolved pokes that completely changes its typing
Mm-hmm.
of any others.
I believe so.
I think you might be right on that.
Eevee, I suppose you
Oh.
could argue.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, yeah, Eevee.
That's kind of like a special case, though, because it evolves into 100 different things.
One day. It would be like multi-type EV evolutions. That'd be amazing. Speaking of things that can polish their rocks, we have a bit of a surprising pick here. Makar going with Gigalith in the first round. Now that Sandstorm
Yeah,
ability. More Spadef.
the idea there is that I can do things with Gigalith that no one else can. The first is obviously Sandstorm. It's the only Sandstreamer in the format, which not only does it have base 130 attack, 135 attack, and 130 defense, but its special defense is insane in the sand. But the other big factor is it is the most seamless stealth rocker. It is the one thing I think in the format that you can run stealth rock on and set up stealth rock without really slowing your game down.
Oh, very true.
Yeah, I know one of the common sets in the past has been to use it with Sturdy. Obviously, Sandstream's going to be the better ability almost every time now. You have Sturdy, you can get your Stealth Rock up, and then, Custat Berry to explode, but I don't believe we have Custat Berry available yet in 7, but you're probably using Sandstream anyway.
But don't worry, I've considered that.
If only they had brought back the
Considering it was a
Lithium
legal stretch,
Explosion.
eh?
Give us back the Lithium Explosion. Alright, looks like we got the first wheel pick coming in from Utah, which ended up being last pick. So clearly that means the picks weren't rigged, right? Obviously. And looks like I did not get sniped. So first round we gotta have a steel type because that's our mascot is any and all steel types. And we're gonna go with one of the better steel types in the form of Skarmory. Still
Spikes Hazard,
the best physical.
Roost.
No defog,
Okay.
no stealth rock, don't care. We have spikes. We have roost. And it's
I
gonna
wonder
pair
how
very well with my
often you
next
can
pick.
know about Makar.
You
Yeah.
better run weak
Not a
armor
lot
at
of
least
mixed
twice.
attackers.
I can almost
format,
guarantee
so-
there will be an SD weak armor brought at least 1 week. Matter of fact, while playing through the game, when I first saw weak armor, I was like, wait, is that sharply boosted? My first thought was indeed Skarmory.
Out of all the walls, if I couldn't get P2, the next thing on my list was Scar, hands down. It lost almost nothing. It basically has its 4th gen set unopposed besides SR, and its stats and typing is just immaculate.
Skarmory is weak to fire and
With,
electric. We got our next pick here is resistant to fire and electric. It is going to be, I believe, the first pseudo legendary off the board is Komo-O. Got a 4x weakness to fairy, but we got a steel type already. It can run probably just about any nature you would want it to. It's a little on the slow side, but gets access to DD and Autotomize if you really want to. Signature move Clanging Scales is, if you want to have a little bit weaker Draco Meteor that you can use over and over again, you can definitely go special with it. You can go physical with it. It's great. It's got 3 very useful abilities. Gotta give it a lot of extra immunities to various types of moves.
Kooper,
I
how
thought
many
it was
times-
changing
Oh,
scales
sorry, go
the
ahead.
whole time, and I used one in story mode. Clanging scales, interesting.
I predict almost every week it's going to be an Autotomize set.
Really.
Yes, almost every week. I would say probably 8 out of 10.
Would you be willing to put stakes on that?
If he brings it 10 times, and well, the question is, who am I betting and who does Coop want to win the bet? Because he can.
That's why I asked.
Okay. I do have to say one thing though. Why Como over, say, Salamence, who's still out there?
Well, for one thing, I've never liked Salamence. For another thing, I have a better nickname for Komo, which is Bola from Mega Man Legends 2.
Oh.
So, unfortunately, his partner is on the ban list, which is Celesteela, which would also be the same nice pairing with Komo, but it's Ultra Beast. So.
And also
Oh,
from
makes
a
sense.
theoretical standpoint, Como and Skarmory perfectly resist each other's weaknesses. Como resists
Pretty much. There is
electric
ice,
and
but
fire.
no,
Skarm resists psychic, fairy,
mhm.
and dragon.
Yeah,
Is that the only-
any pairing of a Skarm plus a Dragon type is going to be good. It's just that Como has a couple of extra resistances that his fighting type affords him that Skarm's able to cover for the most part. So we got Hermes coming in from Fort swooping in. Looks like the 10th overall pick.
And I think that's very early to take him, but I am not upset with that because, for one thing, with the Alolan Dex, he is the fastest Pokemon in the game, tied with Aerodactyl and Jolteon. But his power is really deceptive. Brave Bird is a strong move, and I think Infiltrative is a great ability. Plus, having Defog, U-Turn, there's a lot of kind of surprise utility, and I think he pairs well with Gigalith because of the fighting resistance, the ground immunity, grass resistance, and the more I looked at those two, they made the best pair for me to start out with.
Not to mention, you probably got the 2 best elite pokes in the entire format.
Exactly. And they're both tier 2, so they were value picks for me. They were the best value I could get at the time.
Yeah, I'm sure you would have wanted Crobat, and you don't pick again for quite a while, so...
I had my eyes on it, I could definitely say that much.
We got another Ice Week, continuing the chain of folks weak to Ice. It is Salamence for the Pittsburgh Celesteelers, so Mal is not going with his trademark Gengar or his Poison Legendary for either of his tier 1s.
That's a brutal combo.
I don't think Salamence was paired as perfectly as it could have been, simply because Men's has a lot of trouble dealing with fairies. But I think Marowak and Salamence, it's hard to find a combo of 2 more on their own devastating uses of power. So I think there will be no trouble going forward building on top of that and maintaining that really, really painful offensive build that he's starting.
Yeah, we got a shared rock weakness, but Marowak does resist fairy and ice. And obviously Mince floats over the ground, so got a little bit of type synergy there, switching between the two.
The thing I really like between those two is both of them kind of work very differently. Marowak just, when he gets in, he'll take a hit something back, destroy slow walls, and Salamence can go very bulky. He can mix offense, he can go pure physical, pure special, and it gives him a lot of just brute power, but also enough tech to make it kind of unpredictable.
Hang on, we got somebody on the phone here. It's Pokemon trainer Steve, also known as Magnitude. He's got some comments on our next pick here, which looks like it's going to be who's it going to be? It looks like this is Darkness's pick. Darky, who are you picking?
For my second round pick, I am picking Weavile.
Wait, you actually picked Weevil?
He picked Weevil.
I'm not shoutcasting picking Weevil 5th overall. What's wrong with you?
Sick.
Now you see, Weevil can't hit anything in the OU metagame.
Weevil was only ever good before 4th gen actually came out, much like Rhyperior and Electivire. Weevil? Oh, God. I'm physically gonna be sick. I'm actually gonna be sick.
You know, they tell stories of Yachi berries taking down a lot of Weevils with Dragonite.
Yo, back in my day, Weevil was a counter with Dragonite.
Wow, some harsh words for the Dark Ice type. So why are you picking Weavile in the second round? No access to knockoff? What is this?
Well, my overall general drafting philosophy is I'm choosing Pokemon that I like to use. When I look at all the tier 1s, and honestly, Weavile, out of all the tier 1s, is the only one that I honestly really like. Magnitude disagrees because he's a frick. Battle Arch is better, and I'm sure Battle Arch would agree with me, but Weavile, I just love it. It's fast, it hits hard, can go Band-Aid, priority.
Yeah, I believe there's only 4 Pokemon that are actually faster than Weavile in this format.
It's also one of the fastest and ice moves, which hits the last 4 picks fairly hard.
It's true, yeah.
Maybe not Scarm as well, but it's one of the few tier 1s that I would love to use.
I mean, I would love for you to ice punch my Scarm, I get weak armor, and then outspeed and kill you with a Steel Wing.
Doesn't it say Ice Cold Crash?
I believe it does.
But
that'll miss, so run Ice Punch.
Ice Cold Crash, super strong.
Yeah.
Sword Stance, it still can do enough things that it used to. It's basically just 4th gen Weavile, just better.
And you do have the new Throat Chop, which is a little bit weaker than a boosted knockoff, but it's more consistent.
I mean, I gotta counter the Sparkling Aria somehow.
That's true, yeah. I love the Pokedex entries actually talk about how the trainer has to keep good care of Primarina's throat. Speaking of the Primarinas and speedy ice types, we have Maria going with her trademark Hail, as you might expect, with Alolan Ninetales. Got a speed boost up to 109. Automatic accuracy on those blizzards with Snow Warning. That Aurora Veil that sets up and just generally makes your team very hard to take down.
Yeah, I think it's I would say I'd rather have that as a hail setter than a bomb. So it does have the 4x steel weakness, but steel is not that hard of a type to cover. So going forward, I definitely think there's a strong potential to build a nice complete hail team off of this.
How often do you see hail in a league format? Not very often. So I'm really curious
Not
about
very often
how.
until this generation, maybe.
Well, one of the new guys, so maybe it's time to test it out. There's also that new, forget the name of the move, but light screen reflect.
Yeah.
Right, there we go.
Yeah, also worth noting, this thing
Really
is in
excited
tier
to use
3.
this.
I feel like it's one of the better value tier 3s. It's got access to Nasty Plot, Hypnosis. I believe it still gets Psyshock as well if it wants to hit on the physical side with its special attack. So it does a lot of good stuff. I think it's a very worthy first tier 3 pick.
One of its biggest weaknesses is it doesn't really have the best partners to pair with in this format. I mean, you got like Mandibuzz and Koma-O, kind of. So like, it's still really strong though. I mean, Nasty Plot, fast, Aurora Veil, it'll still put in its work, no problem.
Alright, we have the Starmies coming in with the 14th overall pick. It is that Pikachu? Oh no, it's not. It's Mimikyu. Sorry guys, Mimikyu is the 14th overall pick. Staying the ability you can just taunt, not a taunt, a bluff, disguise. That's the word I'm looking for. And draw
Simply
it.
amazing pick.
Fairly well, so.
Simply amazing.
Takes
I
hits
certainly
from
fear
choice. No, not choice banded. It will take a Flare Blitz from Alolan Marowak and take 0 damage, one time.
It can also actually deal with things like, say, Lucario with a Babiri Berry actually quite well, which is the Steel Resist Berry, which is something you don't really think about normally, but in a league format could definitely be a surprise counter. SD, it can go a red card set. It has priority built in. Its typing's amazing. It's actually deceptively strong.
Yeah, amazing offensive typing, and defensively it's got 3 immunities too, so you can get in on a lot of moves and not even waste your disguise.
Oh, absolutely.
Only Pikachu was this good.
Half only.
And I think 96 speed is better in this format than you realize, because there's a lot of things in that 90 to 95 range that Mimikyu gets the jump on, and it really doesn't need defensive investment, where other even offensive things are going to need that more.
Yeah, it basically functions as if it had 100 speed.
Pretty much.
If you really wanted to basically have 2 disguises too, you could actually run a Focus Sash too and be guaranteed to take 2 hits. So there's that too.
Yeah, I think what the disguise is going to do most weeks is allow a free Swords Dance, because really
Yeah, can't underrate that.
with Ghost Fairy, that's just dangerous.
You need either a good wall or something that can actually come in and revenge kill it after the disguise is down, and that sometimes isn't easy.
Especially when you got a stab priority Shadow Sneak to work with your Swords Dance too. Alright, speaking of priority users, we have, I believe this is not our first legendary off the board, but an old legendary that they brought back to the Alola region. It's Zygarde 50% form.
Oh, this pick wasn't originally on my radar. This is what I wanted coming back. I was looking at maybe Koma-O or Salamence, but figured they'd probably go, but I was hoping. Zygarde, though, helps me deal with who, right now, I think has probably the best defensive pairing in the league I'm in, which is Utah Jazz, Coop's team. This deals with both of them. Hits both super effective. 1,000 Arrows, crushes Skarm, no questions asked. Outrage, I can deal with Koma-O after DD. Extreme speed, great priority. Its bulk is amazing. I simply love the potential that this thing has. I've never used it, and I'm excited to finally be able to.
I will not guarantee that I will not bring Shuka Skarmory against you. Just saying.
I can very well see that happening, and I mean, he comes in, takes the hit, whirlwinds me out, and depending on how my team's built, that might just be enough to stop me from really being able to break your team down.
I mean, I've seen Yachi Berry on things like Rotom Wash to take freeze dries from Mamoswine, so...
Oh.
That's getting high technical about it. Speaking of things that are high tech and have multiple brains, we got another pseudo-legendary coming in here from Malkin and the Green Bay Drampackers, coming in with their first wheel pick of Metagross. 4 legs, huge attack, huge defense.
Metagross is kind of like a weird bag in this format, because it's kind of lost some of its more useful moves like Iron Head. Oh wait, does this get Iron Head?
It is not.
I was gonna say, I thought it
Gotta
was.
go
the
medium
Year
mesh,
Mesh
yeah.
nerf?
That's definitely
Mash was
a blow
also
to the
nerfed.
agility set.
Its defensive stats are still amazing. Steel's still useful. Psychic hurts it, but that's already been seen through 6, which I didn't play. But
A little bit less knockoff, so that alleviates that slightly.
agility Gross still works. Like it doesn't have Ice Punch, it doesn't have Thunder Punch, but I mean, it's Zen Headbutt, Meteor Mash. It can still do work. It can still blow holes. CB. It's all.
Also, still does not get Fire Punch.
Oh, but what if though? What if?
Maybe
Well,
we
then
had
we get
Blame Truth in the
Ethereum
league. Maybe if we had Blame Truth in the league. Completing the wheel pick here, we've got, I believe this is the first Prankster poke off the board. I think one of the, arguably the best Prankster poke available, which is going to be Whimsicott coming out of Tier 3.
It also, as Coop demonstrated in the GBA Season 4, I believe, it has really nice offensive potential. It has a really good offensive typing for League format. And a Life Orb set can be really, really more dangerous than you expect. But of course, Leech Seed is the main thing. That's always one of the best moves in the game.
Its moveset's actually versatile too. Like it can do a couple things that you don't expect it to. I mean, it can just Cotton Guards, Subseed for days. It's U-turn. It's always good.
If they think they're going to get set up, we got Prankster Encore. The Bane of Minia DE.
Doesn't it also get Synthesis?
I'm not entirely sure. I think that may be a move tutor. I'm not sure. Of course, its bulk is generally not that good.
No,
You
it
need to
doesn't.
pull a Cotton Guard. So.
No, it doesn't, sadly. But it still gets the Leech Seed, which is good enough.
Yep. Oh, here we go. We got the samurai bug coming out from the San Jose Greninjas, Golisopod.
One pick that I wanted, no matter what. Didn't care. I actually debated on even first picking this at one point because of how badly I wanted to get it. It's a weird mix. It's crazy amounts of priority. Its bulk with the Navy is incredible. Its ability is double-edged, but if used properly and it's a matchup where I need that ability to maybe set up or to deal with a threat, no other poke can bring that utility. It's just something that I think with its typing, its offensive stats, and all the little things it has that I wanted that fun priority tank just to blow holes, and I'm hoping Lissopod delivers the way I wanted to.
Yeah, one of the more fun
early
things
on,
to
there's
switch
just
into a
this.
switch.
Absolutely, and early on there's just this fortress building up in San Jose, but with the normal Dragon Ground and then Bug Water, it's really strong three pair typing. But also 2 of them can boost, and the other one can still hit very hard. So it's a really nice mix of offense and defense happening there, kind of at the same time.
It also combos so well with Zygarde. Like I got my electric and rock resist coming from Zygarde. I have my ice resist coming from Lissopod. Beautiful pair.
That's actually why I added Zygarde to my story mode team towards the end, is because I needed that electric and rock resist.
Well, hopefully it makes a good first impression.
It does, and Pokemon it would be good at using first impression against, although it'd probably just go for Leech. I think it actually gets outsped by it, is Umbreon. So this is our first evolution off the board. Evolutions do lose access to Heal Bell, but I believe they still get Wish and Curse. No
They
foul
do.
play for Umbreon, but you still got the classical Curse payback set going on. One of definitely my least favorite evolution for reasons. So I'll let you guys say why it's good as I go over here and cry.
Its evolutions get all their egg moves because Smeargle, so you don't have to worry too much about that. Umbreon's always been an interesting poke that it's incredibly bulky and it has just enough moves to be strong and to be just versatile enough for any kind of team setup.
But it also loses more notable moves.
And typing-wise, it works really well with having 2 really nice pieces of offense, and then adding this in, which can...
resist, ghost, and dark.
Fighting... Sorry, it has the fighting weakness that's starting to Mimikyu cover.
Yeah, Mimikyu also for its resist bug.
Oh wow, yeah, good point. Yeah, what a good trio. The Melbourne Stars, drafting strong.
So if only Wish Pass could restore the disguise, that would be really good.
Oh, that would actually be really good.
What if Healing Wish did, though?
That would be quite nice as well, for sure, that status. Looks like we got another fast ice type coming in here around the same speed, another setter-upper of Aurora Veil, but something to maybe, well, actually nothing weak to fighting yet on the Seattle squad. We have Frostlass coming in.
And I'm starting to get worried about Rock and Steel because these are all, there isn't a resistance to either of those, and they're all lower on the defense side, but there's a really nice special attack of core building up in Seattle. With Ice, Ghost, Fairy, and Water. It's a really nice tetra, four-piece attacking unit.
And
Or
Frostless is still really strong too. I mean, it still has its Suicide lead set with Destiny Bond, and I mean, it's still gets spikes. It has enough.
Yeah,
It gets a lot.
Fast hazard setter is going to be good.
A lot of
Spin
different
blocker
amount
as
of
well.
offense.
Oh, very true.
It's definitely something to keep your eye on. It could be a threat. It's not one of those major threats that you would think of because of its exactly high special attacking stats or attack stats, but it can still do a lot of damage.
Yeah,
Does
I
it
mean,
get
Ghost is a
freeze
very
throw?
good offensive typing for sure. Stab Shadow Ball is going to hurt.
Does Frostless get freeze dry?
I believe not. I can check that.
I want to say, not sure if I do those or not. I mix up Freeze Dry and Frost Breath all the time. Because one of them is a TM, and I wish the other one was a TM, but it's not. But we do have another pick coming in here. We have the other form of Zygarde that is legal in our format, which is Zydoge, or Zygarde 10% as it is sometimes known. A little bit faster than its snaky cousin, not near the amount of bulk, but that's why it's a tier lower. Still has 100 base attack, got that 1,000 arrows to nail down the Skarmories, the Crobats, those sort of dudes. And 115 speed, is it 115 or 110?
110, I believe.
Still very
It's around there. But yeah, it's another poke coming into this generation. I was really curious about, and I really wanted it.
115 speed.
So yeah, it is on.
Nice.
But yeah,
Definitely one of the fastest in the format.
one of the fastest, Dragon, Ground, those are good offensive typings.
Anti-air ground attack, always good.
Something to hit Skarmory with. Something to hit Magnet Rise and Air Balloon with too.
Yeah, that's the thing about those.
It's definitely fast. It's maybe not the strongest attacker that I have, but it can definitely do a lot of work.
Yeah, if you pop a Dragon
It's
Dance, you're
something
probably
that
outspeeding
creates
every Scarfer too.
True. Unless Makar is stupid or smart enough
Scarf
to
Bat.
Scarf Bat,
Oh no.
which I can see him doing.
I've seen many a Scarf Greninja come out, so I guess it wouldn't be that big of a stretch. We got a special sponge coming out here from Pittsburgh. It is one of, if not the best things to pair with Skarmory. It's going to be Gastrodon. Got a 4x weakness to grass, of course, but there's not a ton of powerful grass attackers in this format. So it might be a pretty good format for Gastrodon. Now, due to the Skull ban, it does sort of make his not water absorb, storm drain. That's that's one of Gastro's niches. He is a storm, a water absorber, and he can't use it himself. But he didn't need that in 4th gen either, did he?
No, not at all.
Sticky Hold, they're not very knockoff users anyway, so that's Storm Drain is still kind of the better ability.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, the other good thing is, eventually, if he decides to maybe look at some Eviolite users, like for his team, I mean, if you don't need Storm Drain for the matchup, you can just, rock Sticky Hold, and at least one of your walls is holding on to your item. So, I mean, it also pairs typing-wise really well with Marrow and Salamence, kind of helping, both helping Gastrodon and then also kind of helping those two, because most of what they're weak to are going to be special attacks, and Gastro handles those quite easily.
Yeah, between his second 2 picks, I believe he's got, well, not the ghost type, the weaknesses of fire are covered between Gastro and Mince. Yeah, no access to Earth Power, but, still gets Earthquake, because might have to split your offenses, but that's fine too. Earthquake's got higher base power.
Yep, it ends up being about the same damage.
Alright, we have another pretty slow water type coming in. Slow. Okay, slow bro. Slow bro. Tier
A
1.
long time because I was very set on starting out with 3 straight tier 2s, closing it out with Gastronon. But once I did Gastronon, I looked at the other bulky waters that I knew I wanted. And at this point, I didn't even know what tier 1s I wanted. So I did a lot of thinking between different ones, and ultimately I decided that the nice thing is Kooper can't poach one of my tier 1s. So I decided to take them both with this semi-wheel, and I just decided that Slowbro couldn't stay around because I thought he'd fit really well on Darky's team, Maria's team. I just couldn't let Slowbro stay out there, so I took Slowbro. There's Calm Mind, there's Regenerator, there's options, but there's also just purely awesome physical wall capabilities there. I think he's one of the best physical walls in the format, has been since 4th gen, before Regenerator.
And if you end up only getting one good wall, Slowbro can pretty much do it on his own because of Regenerator slack off.
If you only had some leftovers, you'd be alright.
If you only some left over.
Yeah, gotta watch out for a potential like Trick Room belly drum going on. Gotta watch out for that always. But speaking of things that are slow, and I almost thought I was getting sniped on this, we got back-to-back the slow bros, you might say. Slow King is coming in for the Utah Jasmine on their 3rd pick, and I usually tend to favor Slow King over Slow Bro, at least in a tier draft format, as it almost always seems to end up like 1 tier below Slow Bro, so it's just that little bit of extra value, switches the defense and the special defense, which is generally not optimal, especially for a calm mindset. But I feel like that extra value of getting into lower tier price is usually worthwhile.
Especially with you having 2 Pokemon with 120 plus base defense. So Slow King was absolutely the best pick for you in that spot.
Right, also definitely a nice resist.
Scary on the defensive.
With our 25th pick to start off the 4th round, I kind of had something else I want to pair with this, but I'm going to see if it sticks around for later. We're going to add kind of half of a ice resist, resisting a couple of things, depending on which ability I want to run. We're going to dip down into tier 3 and grab the Mukau Miltank, who's in some ways like a physical variant of Blissey. It actually runs Blissey's Seismic Toss, Thunder Wave, kind of runs that a little bit better, as Blissey does not get Seismic Toss in this generation. I believe Miltank still does, as it is the field egg group, therefore it gets it from Smeargle. And due to the nerf and paralysis, it can actually Thunder Wave things and still outspeed them, because for some reason, this fat cow has 100 base speed.
I was actually blown away. Oh, that's right.
As well as, in particular, 2 excellent abilities. I forget if it gets a 3rd, but
yeah,
Scrappy,
and
Let It Hit. Ghost with Seismic Toss and Thick Fat is an excellent ability in this format to have a variable resistance.
The Miltank pick blew me away. It just combos so well with your team. It just kind of, it covers all the small little gaps that your team kind of already had, and it can be used both offensively and defensively, and it also gives you a cleric. It's just great.
Always
I fully expect a Scrappy Curse set at some point.
I don't know about
Oh, that'd be fun.
I forget if it gets work up or not. Probably almost rather use work up, but we have as we mentioned, we have a tier 1 semi wheel going on here, so we got another tier 1 pick. It is the Clamps, well, not the full Clamps, but the original Clamps, Scizor, for the Baltimore Noirioles.
Oh, yeah. Scissor's it's just great. It's defensive, it's offensive, it's in the middle of that the speed tier for the metagame, but it has the best priority move in the game with Stab Technician Bullet Punch. I mean, expect if you don't land.
First impression.
Alright, Mr.
No,
+2
not
priority.
reusable.
By the way, King with
hard.
2 +2 stages of priority move users on his team: E-Speed and First Impression.
Yeah. But if you're not prepared for bulky Roost SD Sizer, there's a possibility you get swept. And if you're not prepared for just the standard, like, even Choice Band, just the hard hitter, you're going to be in a lot of hurt with that powerful U-turn, which I now have 2 of, and really powerful priority. But the main thing is he can switch into a lot of things, and he combos well with the defense I set up.
Man, I'm glad I have Skarmory and Scizor doesn't have superpower.
One of the crazy things about Scizor is his his special defensive sword stance set, it's so efficient at what it does that it almost, like, he almost functions like a pseudo special wall to work with Slowbro.
Yeah, this was definitely something I thought Maria was going to be trying to grab up this round, is got some bullet punch weakness, but looks like it's not going to make it back to her.
That's why I couldn't, I wanted to let my tier 1 sit since most people had already picked both of theirs, but at this point, it just fit too well with too many teams. I couldn't let it slide. I had to take Scissor.
All right, so Scissor's got some. He's got some pretty imposing fists, but I think this next pick has a little bit more impressive in terms of fists. It is Machamp coming in for Pittsburgh. He's got 4 fists, and he's got bullet punch too.
I was not happy about this pick.
Neither was I.
Everyone in the Moon Division needs to check off their fighting type pretty quick, because if you don't beat P2, you don't beat San Jose.
Look, O'Malley, we're actually talking about your Machamp pick that made me cringe, because my P2.
Sorry, I'm a little late. Just getting off of work.
No worries, we're in the middle of the vid.
On round 4, to your Machamp pick, so anything you want to say about that?
Any comments on it? Anything on the thought process of Machamp, or why you took it, or?
A, P2, who doesn't like a little bit of hacks in that team? And Dynamic Punch has always been a little bit of hacks.
Well, yeah, only a little bit now, though, of course, with the confusion nerf. But hey, it still introduces some uncertainty, and it's something can make it hard to know if you're gonna get a move off or not.
Don't you act like you're only gonna be running no guard. I know you're gonna run that OP noob guts shenanigans on Machamp. I got my eye on you.
I'm waiting for Steadfast myself.
Oh wow!
Too bad we'll never see Fisher on it.
Yeah, we will never see Fisher. So mostly because there's no Pokemon Bank importing. It's not because of Oko Claws. All right. Speaking of pokes that have a little bit of a nerf from not having bank access, we have it has kind of lost its voice, but Sylveon still a quality pick. Very solid.
Yeah, Sylveon. So at this point, Sylveon was a very hard choice. I already have 3 offensive fast mons, so I kind of need to start focusing on some of the bulk aspect. So this pick was very hard for me because I kept alternating between, for my last tier 2, Sylveon and Vaporeon, and I kept trying to decide which one I want left. I kind of looked at tier 1, and there's still a few bulky waters left, so I was kind of leaning towards Sylveon, but then becomes Sylveon versus Comfy, so I'm kind of deciding on which one of those I want more. Ultimately, Comfy's base 55 pool was kind of off-putting compared to Sylveon's base 95, so I decided to go with Sylveon for some special bulk.
Yeah,
I'm definitely a fan of the Sylveon pick. I just think that having a good defensive fairy is just so valuable, and I mean, Sylveon is, if you're not going for a tier 1 with Clefable, I think Sylveon's probably your next best pick.
Agreed.
Yeah, not to mention, unless you want to get super cheeky and run, Curse Pixelate Return, you can actually throw a Q-Charm on there and try to get some attract hacks. Since you don't have access to everyone.
It's like the better confusion that doesn't wear off.
Yeah,
so.
Seriously, it is.
Another really interesting set, I'm trying to remember the name of the move. Is it Trump Card that's the special attack that, like, the more you use it, the stronger it gets?
Yeah, the lower your PP, it gets up there. I mean, a pixelated Trump Card would hurt.
Yeah. And then also if you all of a sudden need priority, even if it's not strong because of its attack stat, I mean, it gets pixelate boost and then also gets stab boost, and it can hit if you need it to.
You can't underestimate just running a protect pixelate last resort. How about that? Maybe now we're getting a little bit too crazy, but
it would
140
be
base power pixelate boost. Remember, pixelate, the 8 abilities did get downgraded a little bit in this generation. They're only at 20% boost now, but 20% boost on top of stab on top of 140 base power is still kind of makes up for the low attack.
Amazing.
Stat, right?
Still amazing.
Yeah. There's always that option.
Could be worth using.
But mainly it's a special wall for me. I needed to start focusing on some of those defense.
Alright, something it would possibly not wall that well coming in for Seattle is Magnezone. This is a tier 1.
Like I referred to, covers that rock and steel weakness all in one.
That's true, yeah.
With a nice strong defensive base stat.
Yeah, also covers grass and poison for Primarina.
Mm-hmm.
Magnezone just got so many resistances. So many resistances. Does have that crippling, of course, 4x weakness to the ground. Very easy to tech a hidden power ground on somewhere. And so far, no ground resistances, but we'll see what she comes back with.
Analytic Volt Switch
definitely
typing.
Analytic Volt Switch, yep.
My concern with 13 though is it's all special now. It's all basically
Mhm.
special based.
Yeah, it's very, very
Going for that
special.
magic attack.
Coach Maria also brings in the point that she wants to trap in some steel types on, thinking she might have specifically decided to take that early just because
It's very
make
true,
our
yeah.
scissor.
So steel types
and
Also,
are a problem. And no
her team's
superpower on
the only-
Scizor.
she also
There's
has
also
the only team
your
that,
Skarmory. You guys are in the same.
Yeah,
her team's the only team that doesn't have any form of recovery at this point.
yeah, that is true.
Well,
I mean,
everything is
Whimsicott
right.
gets Leaf Seed, but it's still more than good
Yeah.
enough.
Fair enough.
And I don't count rest. Go away with that nonsense.
It's
Good
still
old barrier
recovery as much.
zone.
Deny it.
Good
I
old
mean, it
barrier
works,
zone.
but I mean, you don't have early bird or hydration, so.
I'm curious to see if we're going to see a barrier zone set up on a Scizor. I would love that. Because I've tried it
Don't-
before and it
don't-
didn't work.
I would enjoy that too, and that
Are
would.
you kidding me? It worked quite well because you killed my scissor.
Yeah, but Mining Zone usually does
It
that.
needed the crit. My scissor doesn't lose to normal zones though. That's the thing. Like HP fire, I just OHKO you. I don't even care. So.
Something that is probably going to take an HP Fire very well is Arcanine. We got Starmies coming in, riding her Fire Dog.
The snipes. Sniped for me.
Snipes. Probably the best bulky fire type. Pure Fire is a surprisingly very good defensive type.
Oh, absolutely.
Mhm.
Especially with
Especially
that
with how-
additional fairy resistance.
The big thing for me is how much stealth rock users were taken away. There's so few feasible stealth rock setters that fire type is even more viable and even stronger as a defensive type.
Arcanine is
Also have, like,
surprisingly good defensively.
When in this format, you know exactly when sand or rain or hail are being brought. So Morning Sun is a much more reliable recovery technique than it usually would be.
Not to mention
Yeah,
if, like,
fairly-
say... Oh, go ahead, Surgery.
Not to mention it's got fairly good defensive abilities. It's got Flash Fire. Can cover the physical side or get that power up from Flash Fire.
Yeah,
Intimidate,
no
Will-O-Wisp.
CBV creates to be worried about here for Flash Fire, but thankfully.
Go. Oh, no. It's
Don't
a
give them
Gyarados.
ideas for the
Intimidate.
next game, Kooper. They already took your advice for Swagger.
Is no one going to bring up the fact it gets burn up? Remove
burn
that
up
fire
is legal?
type, get
All
rid
of a
of
sudden,
any
I
concerns.
beat Gyarados. Okay.
Hey, I could already beat Gyarados without it, but now it's even more guaranteed.
Especially the Wild Charge. Got something to hit it 4x with.
Oh, absolutely. Intimidate Will-O-Wisp, and you can get enough speed to where unless it's Jolly, you always outspeed. Max HP, it already does work, but now it's even more guaranteed.
Alright, with the 31st overall pick, I believe San Jose's pretty excited for this one, so I'm just going to let them talk. We got
Oh, yeah.
Decidueye, the first starter taken.
This is a-
Second starter.
Go,
Maria
but,
took Gamma.
but it's still the best starter. I don't care about
Oh,
Primarinas.
that's right.
She can go away.
It's been a while.
Decidueye is something that I think if you really want to debate it, you could almost argue that it should have been a really low tier 1. Its typing is amazing. Its HP special defense is great. It has enough speed to fight and beat up other walls. It can trap pass. It can trap turn. It can set up SD and nasty plot and use baton pass and send it to whoever you want. It's simply just an amazing poke. I'm so excited I got it. It pairs so well with Porygon and the rest of my team, and I can't wait to throw all kinds of crazy trick sets out there.
How many different sets do you think you'll run on Decidueye this season? Out of 10 games?
Oh, sorry, say again, Coop.
How many different sets do you think will run on Decidueye this season out of the 10 games?
If I brought it all 10 games, I would say odds are I run 7 different sets.
Pretty impressive.
It's almost frightening impressive.
And by different, I mean like there's defog. I can have haze. Like there's things I'm forgetting that it just has so much. So
Yeah, anytime you get a defog or
so
not with
excited.
the Stealth Rock, it's very helpful too.
absolutely. Also, it's one of the few good defensive grass types in the format.
Right, we got Malk's second wheel coming in here. It's Coach Z, Porygon Z. Coming in
Deceptively good.
3 rounds after his brother, little brother, or older brother, depending on how you look at it.
It would technically be the older.
I personally feel like PZ is one of the biggest steals of the draft. I just think it just hits so hard. Base 95 speed is at the best value it's been in a very long time. Its offensive move pool is very good. Just very underrated.
Yeah, so far
And
there's
of
no
course,
Blissey
the
to take
boosting
those
capabilities.
specs, adaptability, hyper beams.
Not yet, at least.
But even then you got Bolt Beam coverage, you got Shadow Ball for the ghosts. Which I
I mean,
believe...
you even got like Unaware Clefable as well to deal with NP sets.
Yep. Nasty Plot and Agility if you feel the need to boost your speed further.
Oh, I totally forgot about the agility set.
Yeah, you could even go Double Dance if you want to mostly rely on your normal stab and then just have one coverage move for whatever their normal resist is. So
The
Double
one
Dance
set
is
I want to see
easy.
from him using Porygon Z is Agility Last Resort.
Agility. I have seen physical PZ via via thing. Can't forget about Sharpen, I think Sharpen is one of my favorite setup moves in terms of the animation.
Isn't Last Resort special?
It is physical.
Trump card is
Trump
special.
card is special. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Last Resort's also
I always get
you
those
have to have an
confused.
Eevee
Sorry,
for,
my bad.
for its thing. Second part of the wheel here, we've got a huge amount of Aqua Power coming in with Araquanid. It is a spider, squish it, kill it. It has so much bulk. Scarily good mirror coder if you run it. Raw offensive stats are not great, but that's because you got to factor in Water Bubble, which I believe it doubles the base power of any water moves that it's used by. Immune to burn, so it would be a good Scald switch in if Scald wasn't banned, but it doesn't matter. Araquanid is still very good access to liquidation, and I believe it still gets Surf if you do want to run a Spec Surf set, something like that. I believe actually hits about as hard as Spec's Primarina Hydro Pump, if you can believe that. So watch out for Araquanid.
Definitely one of the things I'm curious to see play out in this draft format. Definitely one of those mons that if you're not prepared for it, will hurt. It will make holes.
I want to see the Reflect set come out. Has just HP, attack, Reflect. It has great base special defense. Just comes in, takes hits, and just blows holes and stuff.
Can't forget about Power Split as well. If you use that against something with a larger attack stat than you, then you've got half their attack stat, and you've still got Water Bubble.
Oh man, I actually would like to see that. That would be a lot of fun.
Yeah,
just not against me.
Just not against you. You have to switch in your P2 on it.
I
You
think
can power split
P2 actually has higher. I think P2 has higher base attack actually.
I think they're about the same. That's what I think Araquanid is 70 base attack.
Yeah, I thought P2 has 80, but I could be wrong on that.
Alright, we're back to San Jose's pick. We got a fast this bloody thing. When I first saw it, I was like, why is that thing? Why does it look so sexy? And then I only later realized, oh, it's female only. Well, okay, I feel slightly better now. It is Salazzle. Fire poison.
Lewd.
It's gonna be a
It
pain
very
breeding
much is.
thing. But
I don't want to get my
I
Strawberry
really
Toxic.
I wish that it could get Belch because I think its Belch set is by far its most fun set. At least the one that I'm looking forward to the most, but I can't run it sadly.
Ignore limitations for the transfer and stuff.
Yeah, but both abilities are good. Like you can have a substitute NP set that with Oblivious where it's like, aha, you can't taunt me and I can still set up on you. And then also you can have a more offensive set that just kind of flings toxics at any walls that might come in if you just want to use it as a coverage move. Versatile, I needed something that was really fast and I needed a good special attacker, so Salazzle's my gal.
Yeah, so far up to this point, the team based on a ninja Pokemon doesn't have anything over 100 speed until now. So, yeah, correct.
Hey, ninjas don't need to be fast. They need to be tricky and deceptive, and I think everyone on my team does that.
Porygon 2. Duck.
Porygon just sits there and doesn't move.
Porygon 2 comes into teams that have high physical defense and says, "Hey, I just run download, and now I have base like 155 special attack. What do you do to me?"
Yeah, so far we got the Noirioles with a lot of physical defense on their team, Slowbro and Diglett and Sizor. So that's looking pretty scary. Also, what's scary is oil spills. Oil spills are terrifying, and this is kind of a snipe for me a little bit. We have a Lolan Muck, who is one of the best bargain, I think, tier 3s. One of the few users of Stab Knockoff that we still have. That might be the only user of Stab Knockoff that I can think of off the top of my head. Poison Dark, one weakness. Pretty decent move pool.
There's also Sableye, but Sableye is much weaker.
Yeah, certainly.
By far one of the best value picks for tier 3. Just great bulk, gets curse. I'm pretty sure it gets curse. I think it still gets skunk shot.
Curse Shadow Sneak, if you need some priority.
Oh, I forgot about Shadow Sneak. Yeah, it also has crunch. It's pretty good, and its ability is called Poison Touch, where you hit and you have a chance to poison.
Yep.
Can also be deceptively good.
If you feel really crazy, you can even run Poison Fang, which has a 50% chance to apply Toxic, and if that doesn't happen, well, maybe you get Poison Touch, 30% chance to get regular poison.
Fun stuff.
Good stuff, good stuff.
Good
Speaking of
times
stuff that's
roll.
good like Goodra, pick from the Seattle Primarinas. Quality pick.
Goodra was on my radar until I took my 2 tier 1s, obviously, but it has amazing options. It has Sludge Bomb, Sludge Wave. Power Whip is a huge asset for hitting water types. So really, it can use either offensive stat either well, and it can run 3 abilities. Gooey, Sap Sipper, and Hydration are all equally viable. So I think it's a really strong pick. And let's see, the Dragon weakness and the Ice weakness are covered very well, as
Yeah,
well
Primarina's
as Fairy
actually
weakness
very
is covered
nice
with
with that.
Magnezone.
Every other of her pokes resist ice.
It combos
She
great.
Definitely
That's
afford
almost a
that
perfect
liability.
combo with Primarina, actually. I think Poison's the only thing that Primarina's weak to that doesn't resist, assuming you run Sap Sipper.
Goodra has great stats. It's if the enemy poke you're fighting has a type, it can hit it super effectively, almost guaranteed.
Yep.
It's very versatile, and she also needed something that could hit physically, and Goodra can deliver on that. So I think it's better especially, but it can definitely do that if you need it.
If Goodra could trade 10, 20 of its special defense EVs or special defense base stats into speed, it would be at the top of tier 1, but the 80 base speed is a little slow for what it needs to do at times, but obviously we'll see. I imagine there could very well be 10 different sets run on Goodra this season.
Yeah, we got Flygon with access to
the wall breaks,
DD.
no problem.
Flygon finally got DD this gen. Maybe a future gen we can get DD Goodra?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that would be brutal.
A poke you probably don't want to DD up against, though, if it's on their team, is a Ditto, the imposter stat copying counter sweeper of much lewdness, as Darky likes to say.
Well, Ditto is my favorite Pokemon all time, so I definitely would love to use it whenever I can. And at this point of the drafts, only Starmie has a tier 1 left. I still have 1 tier 1 slot open, but any of the tier 1s that I could possibly want, I basically have choices of what's left. So tier 3 becomes a lot higher priority for me. And I already have Savali, which makes me a little hard to plan against because I have so many options with that. Why not just add a second one? So Ditto, you can't really predict it. I get to learn what you have.
All I need
It's
to say about
definitely a
Ditto-
wild card that you need to factor in.
I guess by the same token, though, they can predict exactly what your Ditto can have because they see the 6 things it can possibly be.
True.
But you also have a lot of potential there for scouting their moveset, which doesn't reveal their held item, but you can often discern that just from seeing their moveset. It's more valuable information anyway. It's great stuff. It's a great lead for a scout. Scout their lead set and use it against them.
The best way to sum up Ditto is, it is all, it is nothing.
And knowing is half the
48
battle.
base
So
stats.
G.I. Joe, go.
Shadow is the true self.
Alright, speaking of a shadow, we have some shadowy kelp coming in here attached to an anchor. It is Delmise, another a spinner that can also spin block. Ghost Grass, second Ghost Grass off the board. Malice, tell us about Delmise.
Not only does that, it has one of my favorite options from 4th gen that I used to lead with in Switcheroo. It also has a 3rd stab type and a steel, so I'll take
How appropriate is it that the Celesteelers get the poke with Steelworker?
pretty damn...
Iron City.
Iron City
Iron
with
City.
Steelworker.
Not only that, it actually has some pretty decent bulk, pretty decent attack, and I'm looking forward to punching holes into walls.
It sounds like something in
Hopefully.
wrap an anchor around somebody. Kind of
An
funny,
anchor
both
shop trapping and
yeah, there are 2
just
ghost grass that have a
switching.
trapping attack.
get some switch priority over people with anchor shot. Good times.
Well, this makes me a little nervous because Delmise was actually my backup pick, and oh no, this is a 1 pick exact snipe. We have Trevenant going to Baltimore instead of Utah. Rest in peace, Woodman.
It has excellent typing. It gets the 2 best moves in the game for my style, Will-O-Wisp and Leech Seed. It's one of the best switch-ins to water types like Tapu Fini, Starmie. It can really switch into a lot of water types, and it has 3 viable abilities, and I didn't have any tier 3s at this point, so excellent value and excellent utility stuff.
I mean, does it still get Forest Curse?
I believe it does. It's a signature move.
Yes, I believe by level up.
Yeah, it's signature.
Yes. So yeah.
So if you
That's
really feel the
definitely
need
something.
to throw the ghost typing onto somebody to hit them super effectively with a ghost move, you could do so. Don't know
It's
if
also
you
one of
want
the
to,
best
but you
defensive
could.
grasses left.
It is
That
true. Yeah,
the
there's
best
not a lot of
defensive
good-
grass left, in my opinion.
It was definitely one of the grass types I was looking
Yeah,
at.
it was
until
absolutely
you
my next.
sniped
This
it.
was actually the thing I wanted to pair with Miltank, as to help cover that fire and ice weakness for Miltank, and then
Mhm.
obviously cover the fighting weakness of Miltank with the Trev.
Shame.
Shame. Should have picked it. Well, I don't know. I don't think Slowking would have stayed around. I'm actually
Yeah,
going to take a
wouldn't
little bit of a time here to think about my pick. We're going to take a brief break to make sure the recording, just in case we have recording issues as well. So I'm going to think about my next pick. We'll stitch these together seamlessly though. So... Alright, we're back, and I made up my mind what we're going to do. I'm going to select, gotta get a fast electric type, I think is going to be very important in this format, as well as getting an electric immunity for Skarm. I've got 2 weaknesses and only 1 resistance in the form of Como, who I don't really want taking a lot of hits, so let's go ahead and pick up Jolteon for my fast electric type. It is fast, it is tied for the fastest. In this format, I think it's the fastest thing picked so far. We have no Aerodactyl
No,
yet.
Crobat is
Oh,
not.
Crobat.
Crobat's been taken.
Yeah, Crobat, which conveniently enough, if we win the speed tie, that can shock it pretty good with the T-Bolt.
Mhm.
So yeah, just wanted to have some sort of a Volt Absorb, and Jolteon is, I believe, might be the only Lantern. Lantern's also a Volt Absorber, but want to get somebody fast, because right now my team is pretty slow. My fastest thing is base 85 with Como, which is not exactly quick. And I was pretty dead set on Jolteon. Anyone else have anything else they want to say about Jolteon? While I mull the second pick.
Arguably the best electric type
Really annoying and
for
scary.
your division.
It's also the 3rd evolution off the field, so
Yeah, one of the nice things is there's like grass types that want to come in to resist electric stuff. Most of the grass types in this format, 2 of which we just saw go, are weak to Shadow Ball, which Jolteon gets. So that's
Yep,
kind
that
of
was my point exactly.
nice
It
coverage
just
there.
shuts down what's in your division and great electric type.
Speaking of shutting down things in the division, I have a fighting type, but its strongest fighting type stab is Sky Uppercut, so give me Hariyama, with Guts being a little bit better this gen due to Flame Orb, hurting you half as much as it did before. We have 120 base attack, we have 120 base power close combat to work with, we got Bullet Punch, we got Thick Fat for additional fire and ice resistances, and we've got Sheer Force if for some reason we want to do something with that. Though lacking the elemental punches, I don't see it being brought that often. But yeah, Hariyama's really good. I would probably prefer Hariyama over Machamp, actually. Just because...
And the San Jose Greninjas are now calling an emergency council session because we're now in panic mode.
I'm assuming that starts with the emergency exit from Golisopod.
Yes.
First impressions have failed, negotiations have breakdown, get the hell out.
Two teams now with tons of offensive power that can break down P2, and both those teams have knockoff.
Yeah,
So,
that's another thing.
definitely,
Gotta get a
definitely
knockoff
scared now.
user. We got knockoff for that Decidueye, which is probably gonna have a Colbur Berry in that case, but you know we'll we'll do what we can.
Neither of my walls can deal with your last two picks very well, so super strong turn, super strong turn.
Alright, what do we got for Makar here coming off the semi wheel? We got the Crook Dom, probably not meant to be named Dom, but the Crocodile.
I think I call him John Crook.
John Crook.
Yeah, covers electric, rock, poison, psychic, all of which I had weaknesses who has time. Good speed. If it had more speed, it'd be in tier 2, I think. Excellent offensive typing and 2 abilities. There's really... I don't think it requires a ton of explanation. It's not the most complicated Pokemon, but I'm hoping it causes a lot of complications in other teams' preparation.
Intimidate to shut down physical attackers, and Moxie if you want to go offensive.
Shuts
Crocodile
down
has worked for me in the
Chargers.
past, so I'm happy to see it go. Definitely, I already had a dark type, but I really considered picking it up.
Yeah, no Stealth Rock for the defensive set, but you know we still got plenty of offensive options. Scarf Moxie is always something to be fearful of, especially at 92 base speed.
Yes, 92.
And we have a motorcycles going by. We have tier 4 has been hit. I repeat, tier 4 has been hit. We have
Say
Pittsburgh picking up the tier 4 Eviolite. This thing has like almost as much, if not more, bulk than Skarmory. Golbat. And unlike Skarm, this one still gets defogged.
Unlike Skong, it gets defogged, so I have 2 means of getting away hazards, both on my side and my opponent's side, which luckily at this point, I don't really have a hazard.
Yeah, you definitely want to keep Marrow and Mince away from rocks.
The other thing is most of my picks up to this point, outside of Gastrodon, have been pretty much offensive. I needed to round out my defensive side. Golbat made quite a good pick for that pit, so...
Yeah, and if people want to try to mess with your
Beautiful synergy between the
Eviolite, switching Gastrodon.
Gastrodon resists, I think, everything that's going to hit Crobat super effectively besides Psychic. And then vice versa with Golbat with Gastro.
Yep, and that Sticky Hold synergy too. Alright, looks I think the grass type pool is dwindling further, getting away from me as Trevenant's now gone. We have Sarina, the Fruity Booty, being picked up by the Austin Solgaleos.
You would call it that.
Of
How
course I would
dare
call
you,
it
you
that.
sexist pig.
It is female only.
Yes. At this point in the draft, Star is the only other one that has a T1 pick. I kind of have like a little inside extra knowledge of what my T1 will be. And at this point in the draft, I'm debating between Toxapex and Vikavolt. I wanted to use Vikavolt more, but I'm kind of leaning more towards Toxapex. So I'm going to get stuff that helps support Toxapex. Out of all the remaining grass types, Tsarina is like the one that interests me the most. So I choose it. It's got great bulk, can hit hard. Did not realize this when I picked it up, but it also has rapid spin, so that's also a plus for me.
Yeah, rapid spin, aromatherapy, Trop Kick. We finally got Leaf Kick. We finally got Leaf Kick. The long
I jump kick to help with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Which,
definitely.
it's a lot of things that grass.
At
does.
first glance, I just kind of looked over it, but then I kind of realized after I picked, oh wow, this is actually a really good pick.
And because it wasn't kind of fetishy enough, it also gets play rough.
It also has surprisingly good bulk.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised when I was looking at it. Wow, this is a lot better than I thought it would be.
Well, I
So
mean,
I'm
look at
like
those
very
hips,
glad
and
I picked
I'm
this
not
up.
surprised it's bulky.
Oh, Malk joined the call. Malk and Rody, say hello.
Hello.
We are on round 6 of the draft.
All right, hold on. Where's the board?
I linked it a little bit earlier for the full board. We got.
All we are missing is the coach of the Melbourne Starmies.
It's true. She's probably at work right now. But we do have Espeon coming in for Seattle. So far no hazard remover to keep those rocks away from the ice types. But we do have a hazard reverser with magic bounce. This is not something you're going to be able to pseudo haze out if it starts setting up. You know, it's a little bit frail on the physical side, weak to sucker punch. But, you know, it's 110 speed and 130 special attack. You probably don't want to get too many calm minds up, for sure. I believe this is, what is it, tier 2? I believe this is tier 2, is that right?
Yeah, I got bumped up to tier 2 when Sam went to tier 1.
Mm-hmm.
It's good, it's fast, hits hard, it has some bulk, calm mind. Good useful ability to attack.
Yeah, we had a ton of special attacking things coming in at around that 109, 110 speed tier. You know, and there's one thing I learned quite a while ago is that you going heavy on one side, if they have a balance in their walls, eventually you throw enough special attack at something, it's eventually going to break down, especially when you got a couple of setup guys like Ninetales and Espeon who can boost their special attack. And potentially once you have all your special threat walls eliminated, these fast special attackers can come in and sweep you, so definitely something to not underrate.
Also, I couldn't say it earlier. Hi, Milk.
Yo.
I'm gonna have to add more commentary booth graphics coming up now. We have the one coach who is not in the call right now, I believe. We have Stormy Girl picking up, I believe this is also a tier 4, Electabuzz. So not Electivire, but it's got that 105 base speed versus 95. That's definitely a big distinction, especially in this format. Still got a pretty fast Volt Switcher. It's Vital Spirit, I believe, is the other ability. So you can switch into some sleep moves if you need to. Special attack is, I believe, actually equal to Electivire's, so that's pretty good. And you can also just, you know, run Eviolite on there, and now you certainly have a fairly bulky and fast electric type. Can't be T-Wave, that's always good.
Type. Hands down, best value electric type.
Yeah, I've always liked
Surge would be
Electabuzz.
proud.
Partly because of, you know, TCG and the old Haymaker deck, but I've always had a soft spot for Electabuzz.
Yeah, he was not my next pick easily, so I was bummed to see it go, because anything over base 100 speed is fast and requires some effort to be stopped. It's a great pick.
It's tough to actually get in there and actually get it dead too because of Volt switching out. So, and she's got some definitely got some nice bulky things to Volt switch into. So it's pretty great. All right, we have another fairy coming off the board. It is Comfey for the San Jose Greninjas. Nice and colorful, not what you'd expect from a ninja. Kamon, tell us about Comfey.
By far the hardest pick of the draft for me. It does so much. It does so much. You could run Big Root and Draining Kiss with Calm Mind and just sweet teens. It could be max HP, max speed, U-turning set. It can bring aromatherapy for Cleric, priority healing and synthesis. It gives priority to Draining Kiss and any moves that give health back in some fashion, besides Leech Seed because it's a little bit different in its functionality. Fairy type is extremely valued with my team. I needed something else that could be a defensive pivot along with P2 after the 2 terrifying picks that the Utah Jazz just took. And all in all, Comfy just seemed to be the best fit. And I love it. I really do. I can't wait to see this little thing work.
Well, I'm glad you're comfortable with it.
Oh, absolutely. Hey, I like the pun. It was a good pun.
I'm gonna be sick.
All right, we have Malk on for his next wheel, starting off with the phone call with one of the fire types who debuted in 4th gen. It is the Cannons for an Arm himself, Mag Mortar.
Yeah. It was a bummer for me because these last 3 picks were all stuff I had my eyes on, but it really has excellent special attack, and then it has a really neat physical move pool, especially cross chop to cover some of the stuff that fire doesn't hit too well.
Yeah, I definitely noticed the cross chop. To be honest, there's a couple fire types I wanted earlier, and they were off the board at this point, so he was sort of the best fire type available.
Yeah, the best,
So-
especially what is he, tier 3?
Yes.
I believe so.
Very good
Yeah,
value.
really good special attack. Like you guys mentioned, the move pool. He can hit on the physical side decently well with cross chop as well. So if someone were to draft Blissey, that would have been really nice to deal with that. But
Is it 83 base speed, I believe?
yeah, it's not terribly slow either. Like
Yeah, that's definitely faster than a lot of the. There's a lot of base 80s and whatnot going around, so
yeah.
If you
it's,
don't
towards
have,
the faster side.
I think it gets belch. So if you don't have belly drum, shellac, cross chop, and belch, I'll be disappointed.
All right. Well,
Damn.
Sounds like a set. He's got a big belly to belch from.
right.
Right, something that's not very fast, but he takes a licking and he keeps ticking on harder. We have Mudsdale with the stamina coming in for Green Bay.
Mm-hmm.
The workhorse. Well, which Packer player would you say would be the Mudsdale? The workhorse.
Well, we don't really have a workhorse back right now because like our best running back is a wide receiver.
Let me ask you about what is faster, Mudsdale or Eddie Lacy?
Oh God, probably Mudsdale. That's a close one.
I was thinking Clay Matthews is a possible parallel.
Clay's a good one.
Clay, yeah, that even fits for the ground type.
Although I feel like Clay's faster than Mudsdale though.
You might.
I'd hope so.
Probably have to be something like a Mike Daniels or something, like a defensive lineman.
Oh my God. Yeah, his defense gets better as the game goes on, so it's a good thing for your defense to have for sure. Yeah, it's stamina ability. You know, one of the best switches into rapid spin. I think I could imagine.
Definitely.
Let me take this 2 damage and get a free defense up.
Exactly.
He even gets the defense up and it gets hit by a special attack too. So. It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Yes. He's one guy who definitely I had my eye on. I really wanted to try him out, and I feel like he fit pretty well with the guys I already had in place. So thought he was worth a pick here.
Yeah, when I first saw him, I was like, oh, it's probably gonna have like maybe like base 60 defense. It's not gonna be great. It's gonna need that ability, and then it has actually very respectable physical bulk even before it gets the boost. It's just it's kind of slow. It still has pretty good attack power too, right? Isn't like base 120 or there close to it?
I think so. I don't have the numbers offhand, but
yeah, very powerful tank. Just gets no real good form of recovery. So. Next up, we got a bird, and this one you might recall. We have is a bundle pick. We have Oricorio coming in for San Jose with 4 different types it can run all week to rock, but it's got a stab move and revelation dance. If someone wants to pop some sort of a dance move, just switch this in and copy it. What do you think about Oricorio, Kamon?
I really wanted to lead, was the big idea. I wanted something that could lead, I wanted something that could maybe take hits, and I wanted something that wasn't a wall that could heal. And Oricorio, with its multitude of typings and being a mini Zapdos with electric flying, which I think is the most prominent of its typing combinations. Revelation Dance combined with HP Ice, and I mean, just some of the tech can bring up. It can Tailwind Agility, it can Baton Pass those, it can also Calm Mind. And I like what it can do. It's like a mini Starmie, so I'm pretty excited to see if I can make it work, and I let dance on.
Yeah, I mean, if nothing else, the weeks you don't bring it, it's the most appropriate cheerleader Pokemon you could have, I think, in this format. Maybe Plusle and Minun, but this one has actual pom-poms.
I thought about doing a Lucky Star reference with saying I like sausage, but I didn't want to do that.
Well, that may or may not have been too... I don't know. People watching this video probably would understand obscure anime references.
That's a good point. They probably don't know the reference to the first line of the opening theme.
Right. Alright. This thing still continues to creep me out. Coming in for the Melbourne Starmies, we have the Grass Fairy of... Shiinotic, that's the thing's name. Holy Shiinotic. That face is so spooky.
Mushroom.
Yes, Holy Shiitake Mushroom. That was the joke. So
One of the best anti-rain grass types. The best anti-rain grass type in the format.
And of course, Spore is huge.
Always, yep.
And Strength Sap is way better than just about every heal in the game, realistically. You're going to heal more than 50% unless you're going against something that's like, I don't know, like a cast form maybe. So it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
I'm trying to think who is actually the lowest physical attack that has been taken so far. I'm not sure.
No.
Probably, I mean Ditto, but
Well, yeah, but
it might
doesn't get a
actually be
boost.
Ditto copying Shiinotic. Would be the lowest physical attack so far. Not sure how big.
Oh, wow,
Combo
that'd be
is.
crazy.
That would be pretty funny, but yeah, Strength Sap is very good. As long as you can steer it clear of Sludge Bombs, you'll be alright. Alright, 52nd pick here. Well, this one is very surprising. I was expecting to see a different tier 4. I don't know about you guys, but we have off no one's radar, the weather radar might have picked him up. We have Cast Form for the Seattle Primarinas.
What?
We have some multiple weather being planned in the future here.
Did you read that wrong, Coop?
I believe
There's no
this
way
is
cast form got him.
I believe this is the only Pokemon that has the forecast ability. What do you guys
Nope,
forecast
I'm
for
gone.
Cast Form?
I'm gone. Nope. Nope.
I don't even know what a cast form is. Is it a type of rare candy?
Handle it.
Well,
So
Kamon's left
I
the
call
building.
first dibs on Porygon 2 then.
Alright, we're now going to auction off Kamon's team to the highest bidder. Let's start with Porygon 2.
I will raise you a Ditto.
Raise him with the Ditto for Porygon 2. Unfortunately, there is no trading allowed this season, so we actually can't do that. But yeah, so Cast Form, for those of you who have never seen a Cast Form before, as Maria says, Cast Form at your own peril. We got a Cast Form, to its credit, does have, I believe, pretty much all of the weathers. All the weathers have their let's say the names: Blizzard, Thunder, Fire Blast, and there's one more, possibly Solar Beam.
Does it get Hydro Pump?
I think it. I'm not sure if
Does
it gets
it get
Hydro
Hydro
Pump.
Pump?
I don't think it does.
But of course, you do have
Okay.
Weather Ball, which will double to 100 base power, and is always going to be a stab move for Cast Form unless Sandstorm is up, because there is still, for some unexplained reason, not a Rock type Cast Form. That they really need to get on that. That would be kind of cool. But yeah, Cast
Maybe with Mega cast form.
Mega Cast Form. So yeah, Cast Form is definitely, I think, so far the most surprising pick of the draft. It's kind of irksome because with the Ice type one specifically, you take your normal typing that you normally have, and then you just add a bunch of weaknesses. So as opposed to some of the other ones, but maybe we'll see some other forms of weather come in later on. We've still got a couple of weather setters. We got Politoed, Pellet Burst still on the board, Torkoal for Sun. So potential for some multi-weather things to come in with Cast Form. We'll have to see what she comes back with in the 8th round. It's definitely gonna make a lot of people scratch their heads, and probably be the least prepped for thing. So that's definitely something to its credit. I guarantee you nobody will prepare for Cast Form, at least not until something crazy happens with it.
I look forward to getting 6-0 swept by it in week 1, and then people realizing it's a threat.
Yeah, that's a thing that could happen if you don't prep for Cast Form. But we have your next pick coming in here. It is a Pokemon that is near to my team owner's heart, which is Magneton.
At this point, I just felt like I needed a steal, and I also lacked an electric type, so Magneton looked to be a great value pick. I could Steel Trap, I could run. I still believe it gets Analytic as the special ability. It's not only correct.
I believe so. Yeah, you can chain Magnemite. So yeah.
So overall, I felt like it fit a great.
Are we done talking about cast form?
We're done talking about Cast Form.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, I can handle things again.
Okay, so
Sorry,
I'm just
sorry,
gonna. So I think just for this, I'm gonna take 3 cast forms, just gonna glue them together and call them.
No more. no, Darky. Off the subject, please. Can't
yeah.
handle it.
Oh, ice cream. But,
That would be Mega
basically,
Cast Form, actually. 3 Cast Forms glued together. It'd be all 3 weathers at once.
it's the Holy Trinity. Basically, can run offensive. I don't really have that many good special attackers, other than maybe Sylveon, but defensive, offensive, steel, electric typing I don't have. It just fills up a lot of holes that I could use it for.
Yeah, and remember at level 50, with Scarf, it does actually outspeed the thing, Crobat, right? I believe it actually outspeeds base 130s at level 50 with the Scarf. Level 100 it does not, so Scarf is also a Scarf Bolt Switch is always an option for it as well. So it's always nice to have that NFE that you don't necessarily have to run Eviolite on.
And I don't know if it was brought up, but Analytic Eviolite is just so good.
Yeah, very true. It's back very hard, and you know, you need to go a fast volt switch or a slow volt switch into I don't know, a slow volt switch into a Weavile drop. That sounds pretty appealing.
It does indeed.
All right, let me tell you what doesn't sound appealing though. What doesn't sound appealing is Bees. Malice, why did you pick this thing? Quiver Dance's banned.
Bees, hey,
I mean, you still got Calm Mind, so that's 90% of
Calm
Rebombi's
Mind.
benefit from Quiver Dance.
also gets a Heal Bell, which against my first opponent, that might need to be a thing.
He needs a run with it, yes.
Aroma, Heal Bell, same thing, right?
Pretty much.
Not really.
Yeah, if you want, you got a you can either have Bug Buzz or Pollen Puff if you're afraid of soundproof. Of course, you would be, you know, I think the only soundproof user so far is Komo-O, which you would just annihilate with a Dazzling Gleam. But save me, Scarm, save
Also
me.
gets a few status moves and Stun Spore, Sleep Powder.
Yeah, and grass types, of course, are immune to those, but you got some nice Bug Stab, which most powder users do not have Bug Stab to fall back on. Some do.
It's also a Fairy type, which I was in drastic need of.
Yeah, here comes this big Draco Meteor, you send out a little bee and... doesn't matter. That would be a nice mental image. Zygarde's going on a rampage, and just Rebombi's like, meh. Speaking of which, also does resist both the Zygarde stabs, how about that?
Just for clarity's sake, it doesn't get Sleep Powder.
Wait, doesn't? I thought...
Oh yeah,
No, but
that would
gets
sort of
Stun
make
Spore, which
it...
is good enough.
That would sort of make it better than Venomoth. So... Yeah,
Can't have that.
Yeah, once again, I believe it does get Baton Pass. You can also Baton Pass out some Calm Minds to somebody. I'm not sure who you'd want to
I don't
Baton
know
Pass
why I
Calm
thought
Minds
this
to.
thing got Sleep Powder, never mind.
So very good. Keeping it in the air with fast guys, we have Aerodactyl, the prehistoric terror for Baltimore.
This pick was a mistake. I'll readily admit that. But in my defense, the things that I was gonna pick were, in no particular order, Magneton, Magmortar, Comfey, and Electabuzz. So, running lower on options, I took a tier 3. I wanted more speed. The rock typing is nice, but this pick was a mistake. It doesn't do that much in the context of already having Gigalith and Crobat. Hopefully it'll become useful, but I don't think it'll be as good as what was then taken from me, which Kooper was.
Somebody. Also, I think you just wanted to take back-to-back things that had very long, toothy mouths. Crocodile and Aerodactyl. Kind of share that
That's possible.
physiology.
That's entirely possible.
So for me, when I picked up Hariyama, I was like, well, there's 2 grass types I want. I didn't get my Tribna. I want either Sarina or Alolan Exeggutor because I freaking want Leech Seed, and Exeggutor is about the only thing left at this point that still gets Leech Seed. For Game Freak only knows why it is a Dragon type. It still gets access to Harvest. It's a little bit slower than regular Exeggutor, but it's got a good bit higher attack. You got that the signature move Dragon Hammer that it gets, so you can you can run a physical set and then have a 125 special attack, either Draco Meteor or Leaf Storm, to come in with on your off special attack. And yeah, access to Harvest, which causes all kinds of fun stuff, because we're gonna go Turtle Power for the wheel pick and pick up Torkoal with Drought to give me 100% harvests and just hit things really hard with potential Choice Specs Fire Blast, maybe even Choice Specs Eruptions if I'm feeling crazy about it. But I feel like it's only appropriate that, you know, the Koopa Troopa is the one who gets the turtle. Sorry, Makar. You took my tree.
Oh yeah, that was an absolute snipe. It was a fantastic pick because Torkoal's power is insane. 85 base special attack isn't that high, but automatic Sun Boost and Fire Blast it's hard to get in the way of. And I don't think they're...
Get a Rapid
I
Spinner
think
as well.
Arcanine is the only
Basically
fire
only
immune.
yeah, that also only, I think, bro, pretty much only has 2 weaknesses, right? Ground and Rock.
Yeah, in Sun.
Sun, yeah. Very slow, but again, Rapid Spinner, which I did not have one of yet, so...
I'll also admit that it was a double snipe. When I picked a Bombi, I was debating between it and Tokol. Really wish that I would have picked up Tokol first, because I'm pretty sure a Bombi would have made it back to me between your guys' 4 picks.
Yeah, I mean, it was only
But,
suitable
again,
that the turtle guy picks the turtle.
I didn't think that you guys would be even interested in the thing, so...
Yeah, also, have Maria in my
Hindsight
division, so
2020.
so we might see Sunny Day cast form coming out now. So look out for that one.
No more cast form, please.
All right, we have Scyther coming in from
hail
Baltimore.
Catform. Well, it is Kamon's go. I'm kidding.
So the thing I want to clarify here is the GBA does have this thing called vertical evolution clause, which is basically, no, Kooper, you can't draft Chansey and Blissey and use them on the same team. We do not have that here. So if Maka wants to use Scizor and Scyther on the same team, be our guest. So what's up with Mr. Blade Arms? Besides, being, 105 speed? Much faster than Scizor. And probably as much, if not more, bulk with Eviolite.
I would say we're hearing Scyther's song right now, but he's not a cricket, so.
I think he's still sad about the Torkoal snipe.
Would you mind if...
We need suicide. We need to auction off his team, too.
Would you mind if I just talk real quick about the Executor and Torkoal pick?
Oh, go right ahead.
I really like the Executor pick. It gets Flamethrower now. It combines with Torkoal, which gives you a surprising amount of extra oomph in its moveset. Surprisingly bulky. Its physical set isn't great, but it now does get Earthquake, which can give really useful coverage if you're, using Executor to deal with electric types that it, 4 times resists. And then Torkoal just, with Sun, it hits so hard and it gets Solar Beam. So it just kind of blows holes in any kind of water that comes its way.
Which is more surprising that it gets Flamethrower, Executor or Slowking?
Executor. Slowking has that kind of like mystical genie look.
Yeah.
So that can kind of explain how I can magically... It's a freaking palm tree. It's a freaking palm tree that shoots fire. What kind of fantasy land is Alola?
It has a head on its tail.
It does, which gives it 8 eyes.
What is this thing?
8 eyes. That might be the most...
Giraffe did it first.
It's true, Giraffe did do it first. Outside, maybe Araquanid might have more eyes than Executor right now. I'm looking at the
You taught Jazz with that clarity of vision.
I got the clarity of vision. Literally eyes in the back of our head. Eyes on our tail. Alright, but we gotta move on. Maybe Makar will be back on momentarily to tell us more about Scyther. We have, after P2, arguably better bulk than P2, we have Type Null at a Tier 3, which is crazy amounts of bulk with Eviolite. It's now, at this point, a lot of people have already started shoring up their, anti-fighting that beats P2, which, kind of will also do the same thing to Type Null, but higher overall defenses than P2, just has to use Rest.
Yep. I have nothing more to... I will say this is probably where my drafting started to go downhill. Well, yeah.
I don't know if I'd call that. Type Null's pretty good. I'm kind of scared of it. If I didn't have Hariyama anyway. I would be very scared of it.
Yeah, if you didn't have Hariyama, you totally have Hariyama.
It's a rough pick for the division.
But hey,
it can Rest Talk Swords Dance for days, though.
Yeah, I think my personal favorite set would be Rest Talk U-Turn. Just slow initiative for all the times.
If I had any sort of hazards at this point, I still don't. I like to run at least 1 week Rest Talk's Roar on it.
Oh, it does get Roar. Oh man, it's Malice's old Suicune set.
Coop, I gotta ask a question now. When you use Sleep Talk with U-Turn, does Sleep only tick off at the start of the turn, or does it tick off at the end of the turn?
I believe it ticks off whenever the message pops up, because I believe the way Sleep Talk works is like, Type Null is fast asleep. Type Null, use Sleep Talk, so I believe it would tick off. I'm not entirely sure, but I think that's how it would happen. We might find out over the course of the season.
Because that would be weird if, like, when you Sleep Talk U-Turn, you just can never run your turns of sleep out, so it just is perma-sleep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think as long as you execute the move, it counts. Because otherwise...
I think you're right, though.
Except, of course, in 5th gen where the sleep counter reset. But thankfully, we got rid of that. Alright, we got a tier 4 coming in here. He is a blimp. He is purple. It is Driftblim.
So going in, looking at my team, I kept having the thought of, I am weak to fighting. I am weak to fighting. What can I fill that hole in? And I was going to look at my last pick, Magneton, which is also weak to ground. I have something that's now immune to fighting. I have something that's now immune to ground. It synergizes pretty well with Magneton and kind of fills a lot of that holes. So now I have a fighting immunity, ground immunity. I feel like it offers synergy that I desperately needed.
Yeah, and somewhat appropriately, Magneton also weak to fire. You've got a Flare Boost available, the hidden ability, and now we have Flame Orb, only hurts, just a little bit with Burn. Up that special attack if you want to go special with it.
It's like a better Life Orb, honestly.
Yeah, it is. It's like choice specs on all your moves.
Choice specs damage for less than Life Orb.
Mm-hmm, without the choice. It's pretty great. It was definitely on my
I'm
way.
excited to see what it does.
Yeah, maybe I probably would have picked it in round 8, but yeah, I like it. I like it a lot.
I just felt like I desperately needed that fighting resist, that fighting immunity. I just felt like I really needed it.
If you can, you always want to try to get a ghost. So,
I can't blame you for where you got it though. I mean, if you really need certain things and it's out there and you don't know if it'll come back for sure, just grab it and be safe if you don't think it'll wreck your drafting.
I believe so far.
There's a lot of stuff left.
And so this makes, I believe, everyone has a ghost except for myself and Malk. Looks like we got, Decidueye.
Yeah.
Oh wow, yeah.
Frostlass, Driftblim now.
Yeah,
Delmize.
I think you're right.
Yeah. Alright, oh, we have another icy friend to ferry us around wherever. We have Lapras coming in for Seattle. Got access to the Dragon Dance. I'm still not quite sure why it gets Thunderbolt after all these years, but it does get Thunderbolt. I believe it's got priority with Ice Shard as well. It's got some options. Got a big HP stat to tank some hits with. Got Water Absorb if you want.
Double anti-water stabs.
Mm-hmm. I believe this. Yeah, this one does get Freeze Dry.
Yes, it does.
So who's gonna have to look out for that? Gastrodon's gotta look out for that. This is potentially an anti-Gastrodon pick.
Oh wow. I think you're onto something. I think you're right about that.
Yeah, I like that as an anti-Gastrodon pick.
Well, both.
Especially with all the special offense she already has.
Well, look at the Celesteelers team. Like they're like Salamence wrecked by ice, Gastrodon wrecked by freeze dry, Delmize wrecked by ice.
And Golbat's weak to ice as well.
Golbat wrecked by either or.
Yeah, and then you got water for Alolan Marowak.
So good.
Yeah, that's I think that's definitely looking very strong against Pittsburgh right now. Yeah, probably not the the most immediately threatening pick, but round 8 I like it. I don't believe it gets healed though. I think it's a tutor move, but it's pretty good. Just got a nice big BST. Good stuff.
He doesn't mean everything.
It's true. BST does definitely not mean everything, but. Alright, we're building castles in the sand, looks like. Pick number 62, we have the Melbourne Starmies coming up on those Australian beaches, is a Palisand. Ghosting
I'm so
ground.
glad this got drafted.
It seems like it would be something very effective against a divisional foe, and remember Makar was short. How much HP does Shore Up restore in the Sandstorm?
100%. It also pairs really well with Umbreon. Umbreon's an amazing special wall. Palisand is really good physically. Typing combines quite well. And I mean, her team also has already has another dark type to go with it. So like having, 2 ghosts in the mix are like you're not exactly weak to ghosts. You're pretty even across the board.
Yeah, you definitely got those the grass and water weaknesses already covered.
And then you got double fairy, so like dark type's already covered as a type. Not to mention the 2 darks.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Starmie's pretty much got a monopoly on the defensive dark types right now. I think Muck would probably be my preferred one, but I got that and Umbreon. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't see how Starmie dies. I really don't. I think anything that threatens Starmie at all is answered by just about everything else on her team, and Starmie alone with the right set can just win you games.
It's gonna get confusing talking about the Pokemon Starmie and the Team Starmie and the Coach Starmie.
Starmie, Starmie, and Starmie. It sounds
Yeah.
like some wonderful sitcom.
Stars sends out star.
All right. Oh, we have the first, I believe, user of Head Smash being drafted right now. It is now we love the Boss God on this channel. We all know that. But I have to admit, the poke that got Head Smash before the Boss God, before he received the blessing of the Holy Maiden of Olivine, was Rampardos for the San Jose Greninjas.
I like to look at Rampardos as the little brother. Even though, Aggron got it technically later, Aggron is the biggest user of it by far. Defense, typing, great, but Rampardos, base 165 attack, has
what?
a really diverse move pool. Base 165 attack.
I mean, Buzzwole only has what?
I honestly don't
Not as much
remember
as
off the top of my
Rampardos.
head. Nowhere even close. The other beautiful thing is it has just enough speed that you can it has rock polish, slap it on, use it, outspeed base 130s. It actually has a lot of special moves in its move pool. It has ice, it has fire, for no reason other than it just has it. And
it's Sheer Force, right? Or no, I don't believe it does.
No, not only by transfer, sadly. But that's okay. Mold Breaker will still be useful in certain matchups.
Yeah, watch out Mimikyu.
It's just beautiful. It really just kind of has just the right tools and for a tier 3 value. And I had to have a Head Smasher. And
yeah.
I would have felt naked without it.
Yeah, you gotta love that bulk in the HP stat, which is definitely what you want for soaking up that Head Smash recoil.
Oh, absolutely.
Alright, we have I was actually kind of considering this one to be a very fitting pair with Macau. We got Tauros for the Green Bay Drampackers. Fast, normal stab, pretty good. Access to Intimidate. Malik, what do you think about Tauros? If you're still here. It's currently on mute.
I'll say my thoughts though real quick,
Okay.
just in case. Thrash with the confusion nerf and it being only as good as Para now, stab Thrash actually is really strong if you don't want to just sack all your life with double edge. Intimidate is on it. I don't want to say it's underrated, but I feel like people don't realize the value of what it can do. And Tauros has very good HP and defensive stats as well to work with that. Come in, take a neutral hit. I mean, can even come in on ghosts because, lots of ghosts in his division. And just come in, hit stuff hard, do some work, and if it needs to bounce out, it bounces out. Also covers a huge lack of speed.
It's definitely something to watch out for. Definitely people do not. It will run holes. Not as much Pardos, but it will run a hole for you.
Yeah,
Don't wear red.
Yeah, no, what is
TV
Rampardos'
Thrash.
special attack?
It's like 55, 65?
Because Tauros has base 40. He's still got access to some flamethrowers, some ice beams, but he's got that sheer force boost, so that kind of makes up for it if you felt really frisky, but probably not worth sacrificing Intimidate for. But you could.
Rampardos is 65, so.
Does it get Fire Blast?
Tauros, yes.
It does, yeah.
Yes, it does.
So yeah, I mean, in the matchup in the divisional matchup against the Noirioles, if he absolutely needs it, Fire Blast, Rex Scissor,
Yeah.
move on.
I'm not exactly looking forward to necessarily taking a Fire Blast with my Scarm either, so I'd probably approach
Storm will
it.
handle it okay, but
Maybe approach it to it, yeah. Or run Spadaf Scarm will be alright. Alright, we got another Dragon Dancer coming in. One of the Dragon Dancers that is not a dragon, once again. It is Mr. Bean, coming in for Green Bay. I have no idea why it gets Dragon Dance still, but it does.
I actually thought that this pick was incredible. And I know that word choice seems probably a little bit strong, but this late in the draft, picking something that, water ground typing is actually, something that's electric immune. It just great. I mean, DD, Earthquake, it doesn't have the strongest move pool in the world, but for a tier 4 value and, giving, some potential a sweeper option to to the Drampackers, it's just super valuable at this point.
Yeah, there's not a ton of defensive grass types too to deal with it. So I know one of the moves that used to be ran out was bounce actually, and I don't believe it gets that anymore. I think it was a tutor. I'm not sure.
I believe you were right on that.
Yeah, but there's just not a ton of defensive grass types to come in and resist, easily resist that water ground. So, and usually when Mr. Bean is used outside of 4th gen, he does all right. It's just in 4th gen that he would consistently leave a fortress with like 2 HP or things like that. So maybe we'll see Mr. Bean be all right.
Yeah, there's a lot of pokes in the Drampackers division that just I think if it gets in and it sets up safely and nothing bad happens, I actually think it can just blow holes in a lot of teams. So
yeah, so it's a pretty good thing to be able to say about a tier 4.
Absolutely.
Especially Mr. Bean.
Especially Mr. Bean. All right.
Best format ever for him.
Best format ever for Mr. Bean. If you guys don't know who Mr. Bean is, first off, you should Google Mr. Bean. Second off, you should go and watch The Second Coming, our friend, who probably could have been in this league, actually, but we didn't think to invite him. He is the proprietor and owner of Mr. Bean. We have another thing with dangly parts coming off of it. Poke that lost, unfortunately, approximately half its move pool, if not more, it feels like, but still got 100 base speed. It is Tentacruel for the San Jose Greninjas.
Second hardest pick of the draft for me. By far. Comfy was tough. This was tougher. So many holes to fill, so few pokes remaining, so few options to be able to pick from because of tiers basically being locked out and already having a clear plan on what the tier 2 is going to end up being. At least one of a few things. And I needed some hazards. I need something else that could take hits specially. I need something that could dish out special attacks. I need something with some speed. The typing needed to be good. I needed a fairy attack. And surprisingly, Tentacruel fits all of that. And just typing, stats, I couldn't be happier.
Yeah, of course, those of you who are not aware, obviously we did ban Scald. No Rapid Spin, no Knockoff, no Giga Drain, but still has enough things to, I think, be a very, very nice value. What is it, tier 3 in the 9th round?
Yes.
That's
yes,
that's very solid for Tentacruel. Very good.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it even has the gimmick sword stance set, which...
yeah, your poison jab.
Base 70 attack is only 10 lower than its special attack, so I mean, it's not completely gimmick, but you probably still should run.
Yeah, I mean, he's got pretty much still got poison jab and waterfall. I mean, that'll do. Wish it just had knockoff, but eh. All right, we have our first. I believe this is the first over-salaried pick we have. We have the Melbourne Starmies already with the tier 4s, Electabuzz and Shiinotic, picking up another tier 4, perhaps to sort of work against the sand of the Noirioles. We got Stoutland coming in for Melbourne. It's got a couple of good abilities, but we got Scrappy, Sand Rush, of course, and Intimidate, with pretty slightly above average bulk and a pretty decent move pool. It's got access to Psychic Fangs now, which is that, 85 base power Psychic Brick Break. It's pretty solid.
It's either 85 or 90, I forget exactly what.
I think it's 85. I think it's 10 stronger than Brick Break.
You're right.
Very stout lad. One of the ride Pokemon.
For this slate, it is oversalaried, but I do think that it techs quite well into her team. Being only weak, being a ghost resist with all the ghost types on her team, and also being only weak to fighting, and once again, all the ghost types on her team.
Yeah, she's got so many fighting resists.
Like, it's actually a really safe pick. And it also gives her an option to, deal with the Noirioles better.
Mm-hmm, yep. Make him think twice about bringing Gigalith to the matchup.
It's coming to every game. If I want to make a bold prediction, that's the one.
You think Stoutland's coming to every game?
No, Gigalith.
Oh, Gigalith is, okay.
so
not quite as bold as Stoutland.
Stoutland, I don't know. I think both times that the Starmies play the Noirioles that it gets brought. Guaranteed.
Yeah, and you were just mentioning about how valuable Intimidate is. Stoutland's got some Intimidate, some decent bulk as well. Got access to
yeah.
Thunder Wave as well. And it has, I believe, 80 base speed, so it can still actually outspeed the things after it Thunder Waves them.
Yeah, it's surprisingly balanced. It has just enough in the right places with just the right moves that if it fits into what you need it to fit into, it'll do its job admirably.
Yeah, another thing too is I believe this is one of the very few Sandstream users in the draft, so it also keeps it away from Baltimore. Don't know if it was on their radar or not, but yeah, it keeps one of the a very value tier 4 pick away from Baltimore. So maybe a little bit of a hate pick here too.
We'll have to check in with them when he is fixed.
Speaking of a Pokemon that a lot of people like to hate, is for Seattle we have Sableye, one of the most hated Pokemon, I think, of GK Season 6, coming in for Seattle. I wonder why. Certain user of it might be in this call. For those of you who are not aware, Prankster got hit with a kind of somewhat massive nerf. Dark types now having blanket immunity to any Prankster boosted move. Just not just they don't have the priority. They just, you can straight up switch a Tyranitar or a Crocodile, or there's another Muck, whatever. You can switch all these Dark types into a Prankster Will-O-Wisp and it just has no effect whatsoever. Definitely lost a fair chunk of its move pool, but it still gets access to Foul Play, Calm Mind, Recover. Doesn't really have the raw bulk, but it is my favorite Pokemon. So this late in the draft, and you know, still a decent value at tier 3. It's pretty good. It's got Prankster Taunt as well. Voice crack. I knew we had to get a voice crack somewhere in this video.
Sableye was the big thing that I was debating against Tentacruel with. If I didn't go Tentacruel, I would have went Sableye, and I think at this late in the draft, great value.
And one of the few users of Power Gem. Special Rock is, I guess we had at least one. Let's see, we have Slowking. We might see some more later. Probably the most preeminent one is Nihilego, which we have 2 tier 1s left to be drafted. We'll see if any of the Ultra Beasts go. We've seen the one legal Tapu. So far, none of the Ultra Beasts have been taken. Perhaps they're scared off by Incineroar coming in for Austin.
So at this point, I kind of had two different like sets of 2 that I was thinking of fill in with eventual T1 pick. Incineroar was kind of the one I was leaning towards. I definitely wanted a fire type, and the one I was kind of looking towards was Torkoal, because I kind of enjoy it so much. But
Well,
Torkoal.
everybody wanted Torkoal.
Not me.
I definitely wanted a fire type. I did not want Sylvaney to be the fire type of this team, so the only other option I could think of was Trotonator, but I went with Incineroar. I'm not exactly happy that I'm having types overlap now, but I feel comfortable taking Incineroar.
I gotta ask you, paired with your city location name, will its nickname be Stone Cold Steve?
Possibly. I did not consider that. I could possibly do that.
Stone Cold Steve for the Austin Solgaleos. I want to see it happen.
Well, I'm thinking of another red monster that I could choose. It's not WWE related, if that's what...
That works too. Ric Flair, I think, is the best overall Incineroar nickname. Flair with the R-E, of course. We have a beastly thing that apparently does 50% to Manaphy with a resisted hit. It is Crabominable for the Pittsburgh Celesteelers because, you know, we needed more things that kill Porygon 2. At least I believe this one is not outsped by, or it is outsped by Porygon 2.
Thankfully, yes.
Pretty much, yeah. I'm running out of ideas. There's not much left on the board to really take at this point, so I figure another thing that will literally punch more holes into walls, hopefully.
Iron Fist. I don't believe it actually gets Hammer Arm, does it?
I don't
It
believe
does.
so. Oh,
Does
it
it?
does?
Yes.
I kept looking for it, I couldn't
it gets
find it.
Hammer Arm.
Granted, close combat has the same power, but...
I am 95% certain I'm going to check, though.
You would think it would because its signature move is literally Ice-type Hammer Arm. So, but regardless, it has 120 power fighting move with close combat, which is of course the same booster we get from Iron Fist onto the Hammer Arm. So,
Nope, I'm crazy. Apparently it doesn't.
all right. Well, that means I'm not crazy.
But it gets Power Up Punch.
Power Blast, that could be extremely scary. That's basically your choice band right there.
It also gets Pursuit.
Oh, that's a good one as well. So it looks like we have a pick coming in from Baltimore whose microphone is malfunctioning, but they have some commentary on their next pick, which is Cloyster, another poke that, got hit with a band hammer for Shell Smash, so that was kind of a knock on it. Also doesn't even get Rapid Spin, which was, maybe not its primary role, but was helpful to have. But we do still have both types of spikes, which now gives the Noirioles all three forms of hazards, spikes, T-spikes, and Stealth Rock. We'll see if anyone takes a Sticky Webber later or not. You got that skill link with Icicle Spear and Rock Blast. The Scarf set is one that I'm familiar with and used extensively. It was very good. And it also has a respectable special attack as well if you do want to run Surf or Ice Beam. Needed that for some offense coverage. I like it.
It's definitely not a physical only poke. Most people run it physical, but you can run special just as well.
I was going to be able to shatter some subs and kill stuff behind him too.
I feel bad for Cloyster, because there's no Celesteela for it to basically Oko.
At least not yet.
True.
At least not yet.
Oko
True.
when it's behind a sub.
That's a good point. At least with a choice band, it should be able to one-shot a Celesteela behind his sub. Oh my. At least with a little bit of prior damage. Alright, time for my next wheel. We also had access to Overcoat, which we have a Hail team with Maria, but more importantly, we have Overcoat for, and I believe I've actually ran Overcoat before. If you're not running the skill link moves, you're running a special set, yeah, you got Overcoat to protect you from that sand damage. So it's a sneakily good hidden ability for it. Alright, speaking of really good hidden abilities though, we have coming in, not Alakazam, because I'm out of tier 1 slots, but we have its little brother, Kadabra, could only afford the 1 spoon this year. Shout out to Psych/Alakazam180. I couldn't get your Alakazam, but I do get its little brother, only 1 spoon this time. Still got, I believe it's 105 base speed, and still 120 special attack. More than serviceable. Still has, does approximately, I'd say about 80% of the roles that Alakazam would need to be doing as far as Magic Guard, Focus Sash, just not care about hazards, and just be an insurance policy. Can also just repeatedly whack things with Life Orb without getting worn down itself. Life Orb is basically for free. And yeah, I believe it's actually got moved up to tier 3 because of its ability to do a fair chunk of what Alakazam can do. So I believe this is the second fastest thing I've got so far, and I'm still a little bit lacking on speed, so I want to get some more speedsters in here. And I'd say Kadabra definitely qualifies.
So Mega Kadabra when?
Mega Kadabra would just be... I could go for 3 spoons. I could go for a poke with 3 spoons. I'd be okay with that.
Please tell me you're going to at least name it with something like Captain Crunch or something cereal-related.
Not currently planning on it. Although I'm now reminded of all the images of Mega Alakazam, like looking at a horde of Vanillish, or Vanillite. With the 5 spoons. That was one of my favorite images from 6th gen.
The great thing about Kadabra is its offensive move pool is massive.
Yeah, I believe it's got every offensive move that Alakazam gets. Still, so. And unlike Alakazam, it actually has a tail to use with Iron Tail. So, not that you'd ever would, but it does have a tail. So. See, this next pick was going to be my last before Mr. Irrelevant, and I'm looking over this team, and I don't really have a lot to take fighting with. I don't have a lot of fighting weaknesses, but my only fighting resistance so far is the guy I'm kind of going to have to use as my special wall. And I kind of got a couple of bug weaknesses here too, especially with Kadabra being added in. So I think a solid enough tier 4, it's going to have to be a tier 4, looks like for me. We're going to go with, we've seen Intimidate being taken on a couple of guys. We're going to go with an Intimidating Cleric. Nobody knows why this thing is a fairy type, but it is. It is Grand Bull. Still got access to Heal Bell. It's got 120 base attack, is still quite a bit. Very respectable physical bulk. Special side, not so much. But the move pool is still there to be pretty threatening. Access to close combat, play rough, quick feet if you really want to run a faster set on it, or if you want to switch into certain types of moves, you could even run Rattled, so to get your speed up. Unfortunately, it does have to run with quick feet. Unlike Guts, you're not able to take advantage of that Flame Orb change to burn, but you're usually going to be pretty alright with Toxic Orb still.
Kind of sad. If it was normal, it could just run facade and still get stab facade with it, not care. But
That's very true, yeah. Still an option, of course, but
best user or play rough by far, though.
yeah, I think that... I'm trying to think if there's a fairy with higher physical attack. I can't think of one off the top of my head.
I mean, I guess maybe a Zoomerl, if it gets it.
Yeah, I have a Zoomerl. Zoomerl after the huge power boost, of course.
But the saps.
I like that might be one. I've seen the sap sipper Zoomerl. Unfortunately, no Zoomerl here. Only Primarina. I guess, well, actually, I guess 2 water fairies went in the first round. But of course, no Zoomerl to be had. Looks like we have our pick coming in here. The 74th overall for the Noirioles is Pangoro. So once again, we got some fighting types come in because people got to beat Porygon 2 and also got to beat type Null now. We got some, Pangoro, Aristotle is probably my favorite nickname for it, for reasons. It's got pretty good bulk, rock resist, which, what do we have for rock resist so far on the Noirioles? Pretty much just, yeah, it's just Crocodile up to this point, right? Yeah, we got quite a few weaknesses with Crobat, Aerodactyls, Scizor, or Scyther, sorry, Cloyster. So yeah, definitely good to get a rock resist. Parting Shot is, especially being slow Parting Shot is very nice. It's gonna, probably get somebody in for free, and their offenses are gonna be lowered, so maybe we can, that could be a good go into one of, maybe like a Swords Dancing Scizor. Go ahead and get a free Swords Dance while the opponent's offenses are lowered and get it in for free at full. It's pretty nice. And Dark Stab is pretty good. It's got, what, Scrappy, and what's the other ability? Darky, you know Pangoro for Bond.
Iron Fist.
Iron
Scrappy,
Fist.
Iron Fist, and
I think Mold Breaker?
actually
Sounds
might be
correct. I believe it's tier 4, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Pangoro was one of the biggest beneficiaries of the move tutors from Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, which once again it does not have access to again. So that's why it's down in tier 4, but still a pretty powerful fighting type, and we've got a lot of high physical attack, and it's pretty high physical defense on the Noirioles right now. So they're looking like a very brawny, brawling team right now. But this is a poke that is not really straight up hit you in the face. In fact, it is quite the other. It is quite the opposite. We have Murkrow for the Pittsburgh Celesteelers. Not nearly the offensive presence of its big brother Honchkrow, but
No, but it's more of a pain in the ass because it is another trickster that's on the board, and not trickster, prankster, same thing, right? No,
I knew what you meant.
no.
It's got access
That's
to
fine.
T-Wave, right? Feather Dance.
T-Wave, Feather Dance, Roost. Might not
Toxic,
have
mean
the
look.
mean look, toxic. It has plenty of options to use that trickster with. The only problem is, even in my mind's eye, it doesn't have the greatest bulk even with Eviolite, but I'm still willing to give it a shot.
Yeah, and it's still got 91 base speed, which is still, above average.
Solid base attack, too.
I believe it still gets Brave Bird, right?
surprise you went Murkrow instead of Hunt, because they were both tier 3. That was still open.
I saw Prankster and I wanted some Prankster shenanigans on my team.
The only thing that the
Probably a
demon would
bad
want some
idea
shenanigans.
this is. Don't be surprised if this is the first earliest trade on the
First free
entire
agent.
league. Free agent is that Murkrow.
Maybe he'll get a shot in week 1, and maybe he'll be one and done. Or maybe he'll work out very well. But we're going back to the hit you in the face fighting types. We have Primeape for the Solgaleos. Pretty fast. Got
so
access
yeah.
to U-turn.
Fast access to U-turn. I actually really like Primate, this Pokemon. I definitely don't use it enough.
You mentioned the other day,
And
if
with-
Ash kept his Primeape, he totally would have won the Sinnoh League.
Yeah, because Darkrai. Primeape is like the best counter to Darkrai.
Absolutely.
Vital Spirit, starts close combat, kills it, and outspeeds it.
Yeah, we also got a couple of Intimidate users going around. You got that Defiant.
You got Defiant, also have Anger Point. I could rely on random crit. And, oh, hey, that close combat now just, instead of fist, it's trucks. But yeah, I felt like I needed a fighting type, because I don't really remember much of what everyone else kind of drafted, but Kamon's Porygon 2 kept sticking in my mind, so I knew it's not even in my division, and I knew I needed a fighting type system.
Everybody's gunning for P2.
P2 does that. He's too good. Too good.
He's too good. That's why he went second overall.
Fighter, close combat, U-turn, dark move, does a lot.
Primeape, in my opinion, is probably the best value tier 4 fighting type. It's deceptively fast, reasonable enough bulk, hits really hard,
Yeah,
and
very scarfable.
a way better fighting stab than Pankoro has. So U-turn, it's just beautiful.
Yeah, one of the most scarfable fighting types, I feel like. Especially
Oh,
when
yeah.
you put the U-turn access. Someone like a discount, the thing that's not in here, the weasel thing, Mienshao. Kind of like that. Alright, so it looks like the Primarinas may have a tier 2 pick here. I'm interested if they're going to pick up one of the rain setters. It looks like they're not. They're going to go with, you were mentioning this earlier, Kamon, an overcoat user in the form of Mandibuzz. Very bulky bird. Still got access to Defog just in case Espeon doesn't bounce back to Stealth Rock. This thing is harder to
Great
kill
pick.
than it has any right to be. I feel like every time I do Calcins, I'm like, why doesn't it die? I'm hitting it with electric stab.
Respectable attack for Brave Bird, gets foul play, can be either physical or special for its defensive variants, gets defog. Typing matches up really well with your team. I mean, it does create another rock weakness, but I mean, it's out of everything that you could have picked for a wall at this point, I think Mandibuzz is by far the best.
Yeah, I think it was definitely the best defog.
Like the Primarinas are definitely happy with Mandibuzz.
Curious note, this is now the third thing they have picked that has at least a 75% chance of being female. So I'm curious if that played into...
You're reading too much into it.
I'm legitimately curious if that played into the decision to pick Mandibuzz. And then of course that's not counting Primarina, which is, actually 7/8 male, but, people like trying it female because, I don't know, I guess people just like female singers better.
Are you trying to tempt me into bringing Charm?
Well, we do have a... We'll see if Darky wants to run a male cute charm Sylveon against Seattle. It could come into play. It could. Perhaps it shouldn't, but it
Terrible images. Terrible
images.
I don't know, that Sylveon is adorable.
I'm a little surprised that Salazzle doesn't get cute charm. Come to think of it, it totally should. Anyway, since it is the Pokemon that literally has a harem in its Pokedex entry. All right.
Not just a harem, a reverse harem.
A reverse harem. All right. Well, we got another rock flying type coming in here, a Pokemon that can reverse its battle position from defense to attack mode, which is Meteor. Curious little guy, shields down.
Like a trap card.
Might,
Go away.
That's right. There is no, what is the move? King Shield. There's no King Shield to go back to the core form, no access to Roost, I believe. But yeah, while it is in the core above half HP, it does have immunity to all status conditions, so switch into a T-Wave. Still gets access to Stealth Rock. I believe it gets Cosmic Power as well. A kind of neat thing you can do is you can pop a Rest once you get into the exposed form. I think I was saying the core form when I meant the Meteor form before. When you get into Meteor form and you have the higher speed, you can pop a Rest and get back into your, with your higher speed. And get back into your defensive form, which could potentially thwart some wants to try to status you. Now it doesn't get
wanted to pick this up.
Yeah, it doesn't get its most notable thing, which is probably Shell Smash, of course, since that was banned. But I think it's still, of course, it would not have been Tier 3, I think, if it did. But still a nice user of Stealth Rock, pretty reliable Stealth Rocker.
If this thing was Tier 4, I would have taken it many rounds before. It has surprisingly good bulk when it's in its, above half health form. It gets Stealth Rock, when it gets low, heals, no problem. It does just enough things that I feel like if you can use it correctly, it can create waves.
I could definitely see like a Chesto Rest coming on it. Get a couple of cosmic powers up. And then chest will rest once you do get knocked down below. Could be an interesting set. We have the penultimate pick from San Jose is going to be a, we had Kadabra get picked, now we have Machoke going in the, towards the end of the 10th round.
I wasn't sure what to pick here. I'll be, straightforward about it. I didn't know exactly what would best benefit my team with what was left. There was, quite a few tier 4 options, and ultimately I just kind of decided, well, the matchups that I'm looking at that I'm probably going to have the most difficulty with at the moment are going to be the Noirioles, the Celesteelers, and the Jazz. And I figured, well, Machoke probably with an Eviolite has, can run Guts or No Guard, has a good enough move pool, good enough bulk, it can hit hard enough with knockoff to...
Your couch! What is this for? Oh.
Hi there, Mally. Correct me, does it still get a poison jab?
I'm not sure.
I was gonna say, because I'm very glad I picked Gramble due to this pick.
I would have to check.
I know I'm pretty sure Machamp does.
But yeah, I just the only thing I don't like about Machoke, and it was something I didn't realize at the moment, but it doesn't get Stone Edge.
Oh, that is a problem. Still got Bullet Punch, right?
Sorry about that.
It can all be edited manually. But yeah, I mean, I just like what it can do. So I figured, well, this is probably going to fill in the gaps, and I don't know how many games I'll use it for, but I think it'll do work, I hope.
I mean, you can kind of use it like an AV bulk up Machamp that can actually use bulk up.
If I named Pokes, I'd probably call it Little Mac.
Little Mac, I like it. Looks like we have another first gen trade Evo coming in, but go ahead.
I feel like Machop would be
Machop would be Little Mac. Machop's arms are so long, like they reach down to its feet. It's actually kind of creepy looking.
But Machoke is actually a champ in the making.
It's true. He's already got the championship belt.
Like that's the thing. Like he's there. He's ready to roll. And...
He's got the belt.
Yeah, but he's already got the belt, so
he
he's not
has
the
the
champ.
championship belt.
All right,
it's a power belt. It's not a championship belt. You're crazy. It's a deadlifting belt.
All right, so I got the next pick here.
He's got a bulk up.
It is a
lot like a championship belt to me.
It's actually just part of its body. It's not a pair of pants. It's actually part of its body, which you may not know. So it looks like our penultimate pick from the Green Bay Drampackers is going to be another trade evolution from first gen. What do you guys think it is? There's two that it could be.
Graveler's new. I suspect it to be Graveler.
Thinking Graveler?
I think it's Haunter because earlier it was brought up that could definitely use Ghost, and one of the two teams that doesn't have one, and now it's I think the only team that doesn't have one besides Coops.
You are correct. It is indeed Haunter. So now every team except for Utah has got a Ghost going on. Haunter's still got very serviceable special attack. Speed's not bad either.
Still has Levitate.
Still has Levitate, unlike Gengar.
And base 95 speed. Still very good in this format.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, still a great move pool. Energy Ball, Thunderbolt, Shadow Ball, another Fairy Killer with Sludge Bomb too. And in my opinion, much better design than Gengar, but that's just me. Although I don't like this next pick though. I'm not a fan of this next pick. None of this Wargle awful stuff. We have Braviary. Thumbs down, but you guys can talk about Braviary. I'm not talking about Braviary.
Freedom, let freedom ring. I'm saluting right now.
No, say no to Auburn Bird.
How dare you?
I mean, it is in the defogger. It is in the defogger. It's got good attack. It's got decent speed. I can't condone this, Malk. Why have you done this? Not only that, even if you take it just to be America Bird, Malk is the only Canadian. So what is he doing taking the Eagle?
Well, he's got how many things that are weak to ground? 1, 2.
That's a good point.
2, so he's got at least 2 things weak to ground.
Yeah, these
and
last 2 picks
everything else doesn't really resist it, so he's filling in that ground weakness.
That's a very good point. That's a very good point. Alright, so we are now officially in the home stretch in the final round. Still got a couple of high tier slots left to be filled. Got 2 tier 1s left that are gonna have to be picked up. Got a couple of tier 2s as well. And our first one comes from San Jose. It is the poke that, according to some reports, was only good before 4th Gen even came out. It is Electivire.
Oh, it was good even back then.
It
People
was
are
good
crazy.
in 3rd Gen.
Absolutely. It almost made waves in 2nd Gen. It almost did, but it didn't have the move pull yet. You know, it's gotta bulk up and learn some
Thunder
tricks.
Punch is still special.
Yeah, it didn't.
Like better than Thunderbolt. And you can only get like one to go with that.
But then in 3rd Gen, it got Earthquake finally. Don't know why they added it, but all of a sudden its physical power could actually go use, and it started becoming a mixer. But 4th Gen, rest is history. But team electric types are so good in this format. Well over half the best walls, the walls that you actually want to use, are weak to electric. A lot of good tech pokes are weak to electric. My divisional opponents have a lot of things that are weak to electric. I needed something that could hit hard specially. I wanted something that was at least kind of fast, and base 95 speed is very good in this format. Has solid special bulk, which was something I was lacking a few rounds ago. Tentacruel helped with that, and its move pull is great. But I would argue it's the best mix attacker in this format.
It is worth noting it does not get Ice Punch in this format, but you still got HP Ice.
Yeah, it's fine. Like that really doesn't hamper its ability to just break holes. I mean, how many things are there that I'm like, man, I wish I had that ice attack, but electric stab is just not good enough. Like it's like men's, and Dragonite hasn't been drafted yet, so I mean I don't have to worry too much about that. So I'm perfectly okay with that. I mean, I guess
Executor as well.
I mean, I guess the grass types, but how many grass types are there? So, and I got Flamethrower for that, so when Fire Punch, we're good to go.
It's also
Volt
probably
Switch.
the best anti-electric type with the Volt Absorb and Earthquake access.
Absolutely.
Right, looks like the Starmies are going to have to pick a tier 1 here, and they are fretting over this pick tremendously, but looks like they're going to go with a bulky water. There are 2 bulky waters left. A certain Baneful poke has not been drafted yet, but we're actually going to see Melodic come out here with a vastly improved Flame Orb Marvel Scale set. Of course, also has a 100 base special attack. Bulky Waters kind of took a hit with the Skull Ban, but at 100 base special attack, Melodic still hits back pretty hard. Access to competitive as well, so again, we've seen a couple of Intimidators go the last couple of rounds. If for some reason you pull off a double switch and get the Intimidator off, hey look, free Nasty Plot. And then Melodic is both stalwart and has a lot of special attack to beat you up with. And even against those, powerful Thunderbolts that we've got going around here, I don't think anybody wants, especially not on a Volt Switch. You never want to try to do a slow Volt Switch against Melodic and then, oh wait, why did I go first? Uh-oh, whatever I send in is probably dead to a Mirror Coat.
I like them from a defensive standpoint. I think Melodic was probably the best pick. Toxapeck is amazing, but her team already kind of has a lot of ground weaknesses and doesn't really have the most reliable ways to deal with that. I mean,
Already has a poison to soak up T-Spikes.
I mean, Shinada kind of works and Meteor kind of works, but that's it. And Melodic just fills the gap better. I really think an offensive poke would have been better because she already has great typings throughout her team. A lot of them can go defensively. Shinodic, Palossand, Mach, Umbreon, even Arcanine could go to defensive. And Starmie kind of already is by far her best win condition. And I feel like something else like, say, maybe Gyarados or Lucario would have been much, much stronger. But I'm very defensive-minded myself, and there's no problem with that Milotic.
I mean, I don't want to be taking a Specs Hydro Pump from Melodic, I'm just saying.
Oh yeah, it can do some things.
Yeah,
like
I believe it also
it's
gets
like
Dazzling.
P2. Having a wall that can hit back hard, I think, is one of the most important things you can get from a wall that you want to really kind of put the whole weight of your team on. If it can't hit back, then like what's it doing? It just gets set up on and doesn't. I mean, like reason why we haven't seen Chansey drafted yet, and I don't think we're gonna see it.
I don't think we will either. Kind of appropriate. We have the Starmies taking 2 tier 1 water types. All right, we have another water-type mascot. The Primarinas taking, looks like, fumbling around with the card a little bit. Looks like there's some last-minute changes. We have, we actually have Starmy in the Discord chat here, not in the call. But looks like we just covered her last pick, so there's that. She says there will not be a coil melodic brought this season, so I'm a little sad to hear that. Okay, we have a new pick in for the...
I think that's suspicious. I think she's tricking us. I'm gonna prep.
You're gonna prep for coil melodic anyway? Could be some deceitful tactics coming in from the Melbourne Starmies. But we have the 84th overall pick. I'm okay with this. It's not Torkoal. For some reason it doesn't get Rapid Spin. If it did, I would like it a lot better. But it is the Fire Dragon. Charizard's not a Fire Dragon, not before it Mega Evolves, but this is a Fire Dragon, Turtonator.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Reshiram. I'm like, how is that tier 4?
No, it's not tier 4.
Turtonator's a weird mixed bag. His typing is really good. I mean, not the best typing in the world, weak to SR, but like 4-time, not weak against water, not weak against ice. I mean, it's not even weak to fairy either. But I don't know. I feel like it doesn't do anything personally, but I have to face it twice, and odds are I'm going to be proven very, very wrong.
Yeah, losing Shell Smash is kind of the hindrance to it. It wasn't even that great a Shell Smasher anyway to begin with, because it's so slow, but it was at least some kind of a niche for it. I will say, I think the #1 reason she drafted it, this is just a guess, Maria is very fond of her Kappas, and this poke is very much based on a Kappa. If you look at its shell design and little hat going on. It's not a water type, and I know Golduck's Pokedex description says it's mistaken for Kappa, but if you switch the color scheme around, this is totally the Kappa Pokemon.
So I will say...
That's my theory.
If Turtonator was on a Trick Room team, I would be very scared of it.
That signature move is just... I wish it was a little bit better. Just a little bit better. Shell Trap. Just ever so slightly underwhelming. But looks like we have another tier 1 pick coming in, and it is the other bulky water that... Right, we are back. Sorry, I had an internet issue right there. We were just about to reveal the final tier 1 pick. It is Toxapex. Did not go undrafted to many people's... Well, either delight, because this thing definitely should have been drafted, despite maybe not being as great as initially hyped. Kamon, I believe you did some extensive calcs on this, so why don't you tell us about it, and also Darky, the one who drafted it.
I'll let the analyst go into it first. Or the analyst.
We have some comments on Maria, from Maria, by the way, about Turtonator. She said she needed another defensive poke that can also resist some more types. It does have some defensive resistances that she was needing. So, and also those steel types who might want to bullet punch. I'm kind of looking down there at Mr. Scissor with his fists. Something to deal some. Yeah, that's true. She did not have a fire type yet, so having a fire type is pretty alright. Maybe not. This isn't the format where you desperately need a fire type, but it's still a solid offensive type to have. Anyway, continue with Toxapex.
Alright, so Toxapex, since there was only, my turn round 6, there's only 2 left. Only Star could snipe me. I had the free agency the freedom to actually kind of plan which T1 I have left on the board. And I kind of had 4 options at round 6. Mainly at that point I was looking at Lucario, Toxapex, or Vikavolt. And as it kind of went on and it's kind of drafted on, I kind of realized I need more bulk. The only thing I would consider extremely bulky is Sylveon on the special side. So I definitely felt like I needed some more bulk. So that kind of changed to leading to Toxapex or Melodic.
Toxapex, you gotta resist the ice and fighting.
I definitely wanted Toxapex more because also the poison type I kind of planned on having it, and I'm very thankful that Coach Starmy decided that she would like Melodic more, which I did conference with her a little bit afterwards, and she said she did want Toxapex, but she could not afford another ground weakness, so she went Melodic. So, but basically, since T5, I planned on having it being my bulky water, and it brings a lot of bulk, maybe not the best HP stat, I did not realize this when I drafted it, but
Yeah, it's
it was
very
more
much the
special
Dustin
defense than Sylveon.
Yeah,
But
not so
I
much the HP.
look forward to seeing if it lives up to the hype or not.
Yeah, is this
but
your first hazard setter?
I believe so. I know I have a rapid spin.
Yeah, I plan to make that point if it wasn't brought up.
Mm-hmm.
It
I guess
also
I do have the option of Taku's Fight.
it resists both weaknesses Sylveon has, which is also really valuable.
It fills in that core fairly nicely.
Yeah,
Don't worry,
Sylveon, Magneton, Toxapex, and then just kind of splice in anything else, and that's kind of hard to beat down.
Fills out the wall pretty good.
Alright. Another team that does not have any hazards yet so far is Pittsburgh, and they're picking up a hazard that has not been seen yet with Sticky Web. We have Ariados coming in. The Celesteelers, overall one of the slowest teams, looks like. So maybe Sticky Webs will help them out a little bit. I don't want to have, like, mid-high speed things going up against Alola and Marowak. That kind of sounds very scary under Sticky Web. So, what do you guys think we will see Ariados use for this season, or was it just going to be Sticky Web?
I'm
Sticky
predicting
Web.
for the Sash lead.
Sash League? Oh,
Sticky
Sash
Web.
League, Sticky Web.
Well, I
Also
definitely,
get the
I know I want to hear from the coach of the
Toxic
Celesteelers.
Really?
I've had his own pick.
Yeah, I want to hear from you, Mally.
Oh, you want to? I thought you said you did.
Yeah, I was trying to get that in, but then you started at the exact same time, and it's like, well, I just have to roll with it anyway.
Well, as I said, I at this point I've drafted, what, 10 pokes? This
Yes.
far?
Yes.
10 pokes, and I still have, out of all of them, not a single hazard to my name. No Stealth Rocks, no Spike, nothing.
Probably not the hazard you wanted with your roaring type and all.
But I actually think I picked up something with 2 hazards to its name,
Let's get these spikes.
if I'm not mistaken. So
It gets
Ow.
T-Spikes.
I'll take it. T-Spike's not the best hazard under the sun, but it's still better than absolute nothing.
I mean, if you roar something in and it's already poisoned, then that's basically Stealth Rock.
Yeah, it's not the best option, but I mean, it definitely functions.
You can get 2 for 1. Pretty good. Got some priority with Shadow Sneak too. I believe it's Sucker Punch as well, so some priority.
Yeah,
with
Sucker
that too.
Punch is a fortune tutor, I believe.
I
No,
believe
I learned Sucker Punch at 28.
Yeah,
Oh,
or-
that's-
yeah. I had to face them a couple times during the story mode. And I'm like, why does this thing have Sucker Punch?
Have you ever been?
Or this thing did not get...
as
Maybe
we
I'm
know,
thinking of Skuntank.
Yeah, as we know, Sucker Punch is not actually a punch. It is like a sneak attack, but sneak attack doesn't sound as cool as Sucker Punch, apparently. Have you guys ever been sneak attacked by a spider? It's not fun.
Every time I see one.
It's not fun. Spiders are great at sneak attacks. That's what they do.
Ask Coach Starmy where they're probably extremely...
Oh, yeah. I feel like if the Melbourne Starmies drafted this Ariados, it would be like Mega Ariados. We'd have to ban it, so... The spiders are
Another interesting thing with Ariados is it's one of the few older pokes that actually gets Leech Life and has Stab with it.
Oh, yeah.
And actually has a decent attack stat with, on top of it. Yeah,
Yeah, I think it's like 90.
80? 80 or 90.
It's like, which is
Yeah,
its highest stat, but...
Yeah, Ariados, you're still not the greatest, but
But it does have a super active Shadow Sneak against the next pick of Baltimore, which is a Nasty Plot Sweeper that could definitely beat up a Blissey. It is Alolan Raichu surfing in.
If only there was a Blissey.
If only there was a Blissey to actually plot up on and side shock to death. Makar's got his comments here. Has special attack, which so far most of the Noirioles has been pretty much mostly physical. We got Slowbro I think has like base 100. Cloyster can go special. But other than that, it's been mostly physical. So
There's also the rare Nasty Plot Bat.
This is true. Yeah, Nasty Plot Crobat. We can't forget about that one. Doesn't have Heat Wave though, so that's a bit of a letdown for it. I don't think it has anything else that steals with. But yeah, we got Nasty Plot, 110 base speed, inheriting Raichu's buff from 6th gen. I believe it shifts some of its physical, like 5 attack and 5 defense into the special stats instead. So I think it's got like 95 special attack, which is not a lot, but it is boostable with Nasty Plot. And Stab, Psyshock, and Electric is really nice. We got a couple of other nice tech options with like Encore, things like that. And I believe it gets Wish as well. Not that you would necessarily want to, but you know, it's a thing.
It gets all leg moves because it's Miracle.
Yep. I believe it's Field
curious.
Fairy Egg group, so it also gets
I'm
the Gyarados
curious.
to some of the other fairies.
Go
I
ahead,
wonder if
Dorothy.
it's gonna run electric terrain at all. I feel like
It's definitely a very
Good.
intriguing set. A little bit of a slower one with electric terrain, which basically is going to give you a, you know, well, I don't think there's a move that just boosts special attack on one stage, but it's going to give you a +1 special attack on your electric moves, and then also you'll have all the speed you would ever want with Surge Surfer. So
I didn't really bring it up when I talked about my Electivire pick, but one of the reasons why I waited so long on it, as much as highly valued as it was to the team, is because Raichu was still available. And as long as they were both out there, I felt comfortable just waiting until I picked up one of the two. And when push came to shove, I just felt Vire was better to the team. But Raichu was definitely number 2. Just does so much.
I'm curious if we're going to see on that electric terrain set a physical one with Volt Tackle, because it still has 85 base attack. And 120 base power move is pretty strong, especially double stabbed.
I mean, Talonflame did it. I don't see why Raichu can't.
Could be a good thing, but it is down to Mr. Irrelevant. I'm gonna have to admit that I was seriously looking at my favorite 7th gen Pokemon. Does anybody know what it is?
Cesarina?
I'll give you a hint. Its evolved form was drafted in the 11th round.
Oh,
That kind
11th
of
round.
narrows it down to 1.
Yarny.
Oh, Marini.
Yes, I was looking at Marini for another fighting resist, access to some toxic spikes, but I dialed in on the phone. I dialed in back to headquarters. You know, now we're off in Alola. We were back on the mainland in Kalos, and I said I need Aggron shipped out here, and they called back and they told me that, well, he's too heavy. We can't fly him over, and we can't get a ship built that can support his massive girth in time for the season. So I was upset. I wasn't going to be able to get Aggron this season. But they were able to fly over another head smasher in the form of Archeops, being our Mr. Irrelevant. This thing, I believe, like, one-hit KO, not two-hit KOs, I believe one-hit KOs, like, half of certain teams without a held item. It's kind of silly. 140 base attack.
Yep. That base 140. And it also has good speed, too, to work with it. And
A
respectable special
surprising
attack.
amount of special attacks. Like, I believe it actually has more special attack than almost everything on the Noirioles team. In fact, I believe it does.
He doesn't have a single that's over 100, so yes, it does.
Yep. I think the only notable special attack I can think of that it gets is, off the top of my head, is Earth Power, but that's a good one to have. It's a fairly rare move due to the
Fire
lack of
Blast?
the tutor. Fire Blast as well, yeah. It's dinosaurs or dragons, right? They totally get fire moves. So of
Absolutely.
course, a nice stab acrobatics will also punch some holes in some fighting types that might want to resist the rock stab, including, you know, head smash. So not the boss god, but he's I'm not sure who would come. Let's see. Well, we'll still play the dinosaur versus in the air winged, not actually a dinosaur guy. But,
Oh, wow, never mind. It actually doesn't get Fire Blast.
oh, well, there you go. Sorry, we got acrobatics. We're good.
I'm curious how you plan on keeping its morale up, because I've heard Archeops is a really hard time just staying hyped.
Well, you know, sometimes we'll just have to bring him down and rest on the ground for a turn, and then usually he's fine after that. I think
Oh.
that's first anyway.
Water break, sure. That could work.
Yeah. All right, so that is the draft. I think we have almost everyone in here now, either in the call or I think we actually have the entire league in the call. So I guess if everyone would like
Yes,
to, you can,
unfortunately, two of them
2 or 3 of them.
here to add commentary. One of them has had technical issues, and I don't know where. The
Well,
coach of
those of you who are, I guess we can go ahead and start with people who are in the call. With Mike, you can talk about what your favorite pick and maybe the pick you're least happy with.
What order you want to go by?
Whatever order you want.
So
Since we went snake and we ended like at the tail end of snake, why don't we go reverse snake? just for lulls.
Well, I'm typing, so...
Yeah, I think that works fine. So it would be the Jazz, Noirioles, Celesteelers, Solgaleos, Primarinas, Starmies, Greninjas, and then the Drampackers.
Alright, what would mine be? Let's see, the pick I'm probably most pleased with... I really don't know. In a weird sort of way, I feel like the one I'm most thinking is droppable, in a weird sort of way, may actually be Miltank, which sounds very strange because at the same time I also feel like that's one of the picks I'm most pleased with. I don't know, come back to me. I'll think of it. Archeops may actually end up being the one I'm most pleased with. For Mr. Irrelevant. That's true, I did steal Starmie's cow. So that would be why I'm most shaky on that, because I stole the cow from Starmies.
Archeops last, but certainly not me.
Certainly not least. For Makar, we have his highest pick he's highest on is Trevenant for its versatility, value, typing, move pool, and also that it sniped the Carp out of Kooper 2 in a row. With both the remaining Ghost Grasses going. And he is lowest on Scyther because he already had plenty of attack, speed, and a flying type, and kind of has a dearth of special attackers, so there's that. We're waiting for Mally to...
Oh, Mally's favorite pick of the draft so far would probably be Machamp at this point from all the small calcs I'm doing in preparation for his first match. Hi, Makar.
Makar said that the Iron City will fall, so...
Some fighting words.
Melly, from just like a draft perspective for the whole year, are you saying Machamp for the whole year, or is it you're just saying it for week 1?
The whole year. I'm looking forward to using this thing all year round. It's been one of my favorite go-to Pokemon throughout the years. Even in 4th Gen, I used it a little bit. So it's nice having one Pokemon return from the past that I used before and have a decent idea what I'm doing with. My least favorite pick of the draft would have to be Murkrow, and I probably am going to sadly be ditching it as soon as I can.
Well, yeah, at least it's a late round pick. You didn't suffer a bad opportunity cost.
True enough.
There's still a lot of good tier 3s out there too.
Mm-hmm. You can even just upgrade it to its big brother. Yeah. Alright, how about you, Darky? Also, Makar wants it noted that he will spend the entire season in the actual city of Pittsburgh except for week 1. So he's gonna come and take over your city and then just live there.
Oh man, that's... Well,
that's brutal. He's gonna go into your
what?
house and kick you out of your house, Mally.
Those are some fighting words. My favorite pick, probably my round 1 pick, Sylvani. Blah, blah, blah.
Shirobadi. A member of the Rosencrest Select.
Evolution.
Yeah.
Yep.
Member of the Rosencrest Select.
It is confirmed it will be named Tia.
Nice.
Maybe spiritually in some weeks, but it is confirmed that it will be named Tia. It's so versatile. I could find it like some position on it in every single week. It just has that versatility, and that's one of the reasons why I picked it first thing, because I didn't want anyone else to have that versatility. My
so
least
Kaiba
favorite
strategies,
pick,
huh?
probably my least favorite pick as the draft was going on, I was thinking Sylveon. That was kind of the one that was always torn over.
Wow.
But as the team filled out, I'm glad I picked that. So now I'm kind of torn between Drifloon and possibly Zygarde. I'm going to say Drifloon because that was definitely one of the things that I felt like I just needed that specific typing to help fill holes. And it's basically the only one of that typing that fills that hole without having Sylveon to do that.
You just don't want to call it Silvally, do you?
don't know how to pronounce some of these Pokemon's names yet.
It's like you're taking the two L's and you're just like bending them like a crowbar and to make it into an N.
You have your voice cracks. I have my speech impediments.
Okay. I would just call it Shibubani because it's supposed to be silver plus body was the joke, but they didn't translate it very well. All right, for the Primarinas, see our high pick here is looks like a Alolan Ninetales, which I think probably all of us knowing Maria probably expected she would take Alolan Ninetales, and I think it's a great steal at tier 3. Like, it's gonna be tough to break down stuff. That thing gets to set up Aurora Veil multiple times in a game. It's gonna create some very difficult to break through defense. It almost makes up for Hail still not boosting the physical defense of Ice types. And for the low pick, looks like Sableye. She's not really sure what's going to be coming of it. So it is not Cast Form, by the way, came in. Cast Form is not the pick she's shakiest on. I want to point that out to you.
Okay. I personally don't agree with that view, but it's not my team, so.
When do you play Maria?
I think week 4 or week 5 first.
I know I play her week 2, so I'm going to be the second person to get swept by Cast Form.
I'm going to be the first. I'm going to set the stage for that. I will make a bold prediction for the Seattle that one of their free agencies will be Sandslash.
I think that's probably a good pick at some point. I would probably do it right away, but at some point, I think, at least when it comes in for certain matchups, that's the time to drop the Sandslash. I'm curious if anyone's gonna grab Sandslash in free agency despite Seattle.
I will admit that thought did cross my mind when I was thinking of Magneton.
Alright, looks like we have Melbourne next. Her favorite pick was Mimikyu. I agree. It tanks a free hit. That's pretty good. Her least favorite pick was Meteor because she forgot about that Shell Smash was banned and isn't sure what to do with it. But I think at tier 3 value, it's still something decent, and if nothing else, then there's still some usable things in tier 3 to drop it in free agency for, which is one of the main things that free agency is for. Also, she says that she hopes Cast Form Rex Kamon.
Well, fighting words from the coach of Nuborns.
I have some. Oh, give me a second. I have some tricky plans for going against the Primarinas, so all I can say is good luck to that.
All right, and Kamons?
Darkies.
I just want to say one thing about Minier real quick. It's probably the next bulky, like the second bulkiest SR user in the format. So like out of all the ones that can set up SR, I think it's probably the second safest. That's just my opinion though.
Got some smack talk going between the coaches in the Discord.
I'm not looking at it at the moment. I'll check in a second. I don't know what my favorite pick is. I actually have a lot of picks I really, really like. I really liked P2, but it's, my first pick, so that's whatever. I really like Zygarde overall because of how it matches up against a lot of things, and it gives me a lot of potential win conditions. I absolutely love Decidueye. It just can do so much. Even Comfy, the more I've looked into Comfy, the more I like it. And then Evire is so late. I don't know. Kind of just any of those you could just pick and say that's my favorite pick at the draft. I don't really know.
I'd say Porygon 2 is the one that got counterpicked the most.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess I'll go with Zygarde as my favorite of the draft overall. I just like the idea of it has a couple different sweeping sets, how it can work with my team, how it helps me win matchups that I normally wouldn't be winning. And then shakiest pick, I would have to say Oricorio. Even though I don't think it's really that shaky of a pick, I just feel like it's definitely the most exploitable poke on my team. I mean, I can say Salazzle, but I really need the speed special attack, so yeah, I'll say Oricorio is probably my shakiest pick.
At least you don't want to Dragon Dance against it. Don't do that. Alright, and leaves us with Malk. Malk's favorite pick is actually Porygon Z. Loves the versatility. and what it's got the potential to do, as well as Metagross, because he was actually considering to go Metagross first overall. That's kind of surprising. Didn't love picking, I believe he means Tapu Fini, not Tapu Lele, which was very much banned, because learning the format on the fly, wasn't sure what to pick, so I guess generally when you're not sure what to pick, going with a bulky water that can't be status the first couple turns it switches in is pretty good. And he's also a little bit unsure about Haunter, as you know, it's Haunter, it's tier 4.
I've used Haunter before. I can tell you that that is probably not a bad pick for tier 4. Hell, I could even say that could belong in tier 3. I'm willing to say that is a good.
I think it was actually considered to maybe go to tier 3, but tier 4 had to have some good stuff.
At one point, yeah.
I do understand his pressure of picking the Tapu because he's first pick. He sets the stage, and there's a lot of pressure with that.
Yeah, I feel
If
like
you don't
Fini
know
would have
exactly
actually
what
been
you
my
want.
third choice bulky water.
I don't really have any qualms with Fini going first overall. I think its typing, its ability, some of the different sets you can run. I personally love the trap set. I feel like if you wanted just a safe pick that you can kind of just meld different things around your team and just kind of not have too many issues, I think Fini is a pretty safe choice.
I'm actually going to amend my shakiest pick. I'm most concerned, I think it'll be alright, but I'm most concerned that I won't be able to use Exeggutor properly. I think he's got the most, like, boom or bust potential. He could be very good, or he could be very bad.
But he actually has bulk with 3-4x resists.
He does. He also has a 4x weakness, and I'm always mortally... Is it? No, it's not the only 4x weakness on my team. We have Komo, but Komo is also not super slow, so... Slow things with 4x weaknesses I'm always a little bit leery of in League format. But at least it's not 4x weak to first impression and leech life, like the other Exeggutor is.
Nope, just 2x. And probably still 2-hit KO, or 1-hit KO. So.
Alright, well I believe that pretty much wraps things up. I'm not sure what the total length of this video is because we did cut it into multiple parts. But yeah, so our first round will be going up, again if you watched the previous video, you know we're going to be doing 2 weeks per game so that we have plenty of time to breed and all that stuff. I think we're going to attempt to maybe target January 11th for our first game uploads. It might end up being the 18th depending on how slow people are with getting, you know, some of us need to still beat the game, and the rest of us also need to get set up with our breeds and whatnot. When Bank comes out, some of us are going to be able to import our old Ditto, so things should be going smoothly after that. But yeah, so hopefully the 11th, or failing that, definitely by the 18th, thereabouts, we'll have videos coming up. And again, I'll post everyone's links in the description so you can go and, I don't know, if you want you can subscribe to them, just don't subscribe to Kooper. So, any final words?
This week 1 is going to be really interesting pre-bank. A lot of us are just still getting set up, so not everything is going to be optimized, which I'm going to wonder if that's going to really make or break some matches.
Yeah, everyone you play week 1, you will not play again for the rest of the season, so there is that to be mindful of as well.
Rigged.
Well, it is actually intended to be
my
that way.
first week matchup.
Our first week
What was that,
matchups are...
I'm afraid of playing the Drampackers. My team kind of revolves around being like average on bulk, average on offensive potential, and using its tech to really, you know, make it stand out. And that team just has so many defensive weapons. I don't know how I break half of them. But within the week or 2 weeks, I plan on having a draft review of my team up. So,
yeah,
don't know if it'll be good, but I'm trying to get it done.
Yeah, hopefully most, or probably not most of us, but maybe about half of us anyway, will have some sort of a personal draft recap where we go a lot more in depth on the picks. So, can certainly look forward to that over the next 2 weeks, and yeah, from there we'll be off. This channel will have GBA Season 7 coming up somewhere towards the end of January. That should be an Strokes Chin interesting time, but for reasons I can't disclose right now. But I'll see you guys for that. Thank you guys for watching this fairly long video. Glad we finally got to post one that's over 30 minutes. I haven't been able to do that in a while, so see you guys back for week 1. Later days.